O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show.
Sports Grill on Bird Road, Miami Lakes, and their newest location in Doral is now hiring. If you're looking to join a great company and South Florida institution, give them a ring or drop an email. Sports Grill is hiring all kinds of positions from hostess to servers, bartenders, or join the kitchen staff to craft some great food for their amazing customers. Please send your resume to m.cruz@sportsgrillmiami.com or call 305-219-5726. That's 305-219-5726. Sports Grill. Good food, good drink, good friends.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Flow means you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
Why is it that you get locked out in the worst moments of your life?
Where are my car keys? Man, I can't find my house keys.
In those frustrating moments, you need a locksmith you can count on. A. Lenny Locksmiths in South Florida, from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, A. Lenny locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Lockouts or lock changes for home or business, car key replacements, and programming all model cars. 24-hour service. Call them at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at alennylocksmith.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. I'm so used to good morning. Well, our morning was spent in Miami Gardens as we were hanging out with the Dolphins today. Went out to Dolphins camp, hung out, watched the team practice. There were no pads or anything. So we'll get to breaking down what we saw and everything else, and talking to Ron Armstead, talking to Tua, Coach McDaniel, Raheem Mostert. So we got a group of players after the practice that we were able to talk to, and had a good time out there at camp. Was able to peruse around the building and do my thing. So it was good to be out there. We'll be back out there on Saturday with the fans. By the way, just a little nugget for you all. No pads on Saturdays. It will be on shells. They're not going to be in practice in pads until Tuesday, Wednesday. So the real hitting doesn't start till Tuesday or Wednesday. You know, as I saw somebody break it down where they said, well, you know, Tua had time more often than not and in passing. And it's like they're not really blocking and they're not really rushing, because if you don't have pads, you really can't go all out, you know, because then people are going to get injured. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily judge. If you don't have pads on, I can't judge any kind of hitting. You know what I mean? You can judge where your passing game is, cornerbacks, you know, that kind of stuff. You can do some of that, but it's really near impossible to really look at the running game the way they are right now. So just in case, because we've been talking about it throughout the week. Well, wait a minute. If they only got to do 3 days and Saturday's the 4th day, oh, no, I'm telling you, no pads on Saturdays. This Saturday, they will be in shells. It'll be Tuesday and Wednesday when they are in pads for the first time. So just in case, if you just want to see, if you want to get to practice where they have pads on, then wait till Tuesday or Wednesday after that. Then you'll get the pads going, but there will be no pads till then. So just in case, if you're going out there, I don't know about getting I guess you got to go online and get your ticket or something. I'm not sure how that works. That whole thing with training camp. But anyway, so we had a good day out there. Today, Matt Verderam is going to join us. He'll join us at 4:00. And then at 5:00, it'll be Ian Rapoport will be joining us. So we'll have the huddle, the Red Recover huddle with Matt Verderam. And then, of course, Ian Rapoport and redrecover.com there also our look around the NFL. We are going, Craig Mish is normally on with us, and so is Iro is going to be on with us today too. We're going to push those guys back. I know Mish will be on with us tomorrow. We'll try to set up Ira if we can later on in the week and catch up with him because he's also traveling. But we'll get back tomorrow and Friday. We're back to normal times at 10 a.m. because we'll be at Hialeah Park tomorrow. And then Friday, we'll be at Acura. So we can't go out to camp because obviously we have our commitments with our fantastic sponsors. So Saturday, which is the first day that fans will be out there. If you happen to go out there Saturday, you know, give me a shout out. Would love to meet you. Any of you that go out there to, you know, if you're going out to training camp and you see me, please track me down. All right. Track me down. I love to meet the people that, you know, make this thing go round. Right. Because all of you that download this show, you make it go round. Those of you that watch this show, make it go round. Those of you that obviously visit our incredible sponsors like Edge Energy Drink, and you go to myedgedrink.com to get the best energy drink on the planet. Thank you very much. So always love meeting the people that make it happen for us. And on behalf of Sean and myself, we appreciate it. Obviously, Sean was out there with me today doing his thing. He even got into the selfie with Omar's iPhone 5 or some shit like that. I don't know. What the hell is Omar doing with that phone, bro? Let's go, man. No wonder, so that we do have some news to report. Next week, Inside the Paint will begin. Now there is a little bit of an adjustment on Inside the Paint. We have a new co-host with Ira Winderman, and we are going with Kurt Heelan. And we wanted to add a little bit more of a national person. So that way we've got the man that runs NBC basketball. He is going to be opposite of Ira Winderman. So you'll get all the insight locally, and then Kurt Heelan will give you insight nationally. And he can also give us his view of the Heat from 30,000 feet, which, as an outsider, it's always good to have kind of a national perspective on it. So we adjusted a little bit, and I love Clay. Did a great job for us. But we're going to use Kurt Heelan now, and I wanted to add more news to it and add more of a guy that brings some more basketball stuff outside of the Heat, because it is a Miami Heat and NBA hour, and I want to make sure that we cover our, some of the things nationally. So we've got Kurt Heelan now, who's a terrific writer and insider. So it'll be Ira Winderman and Kurt Heelan every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. And that'll start this Wednesday for that. All right. Those of you watching, please smash the hell out of the like button. Very important to get the algorithms going there on the show, and it gets it out to more Dolphin and Heat fans and Canes fans and Inter Miami fans and Panther fans and all that good stuff. So there you go. What do we got? Adrian Garcia is the first one in, and he's got Dolphins winning the championship this year. I'm with that. Joseph Rodriguez is in. I guess I lost some of them. I guess I must have opened this late and missed out on some of the other texts that came in earlier. So I apologize if I missed out on some. I don't know if I missed out on any super chats too. Mike Honcho is in. Omar Ferrer in. How did it feel walking off with Tua after his press conference? It was just good to be at practice, and one of the things that I when I was at practice today, it's just a good vibe. Really, that's kind of what you feel right now. It's a good vibe, and you know who deserves all the credit for that? Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel has been in crypto. Polkadot is a company that is building bridges for the blockchain. And as I've explained many times over, the blockchain is the new internet. Okay, that's what's going to end up being what you're going to use every single day of your life. And then there are companies like Harmony, who's in real trouble. But Polkadot, Gavin Wood, who's done an amazing job after leaving Ethereum, and he was only in Ethereum for a very short amount of time, but he has built a monster that is building bridges to connect all of these things. Because I've explained to you sometimes, for those of you that don't follow crypto, Bitcoin is a blockchain, Cardano is a blockchain, Avalanche is a blockchain, VeChain is a blockchain. And so all these blockchains, whether it's Binance, Crow, whatever, they all have businesses built on top of them. And they're all also, dApps and DEX and everything else that are being built. And then in order for them to communicate with each other, something that's on the Cardano blockchain to something that is on the Cosmos blockchain, they're going to need a bridge. And that bridge will connect those two. And then a business that's on Cardano blockchain can do business with one that's on Cosmos, and vice versa with Ethereum and whoever, right? And so there are companies that are going and they're helping out in the inoperability of all of this, right? And Polkadot is like the monster of all of this. Well, Mike McDaniel is the bridge maker. and he's been the bridge maker since he got here. And this was a team that was on several islands. Now, I was talking to somebody in the building today, and I said that there just seems to be more synergy, and everybody seems to be on the same page. And the person agreed with me. And that's not how it was the last couple of years with Flo. Because you've got the front office going one way, you've got the head coach going another way, and then the players, they don't know where the hell they stand. His assistant coaches at times didn't know where they stood, and everybody was on islands. There were no bridges connecting them. Enter Mike McDaniel, and he has been the polka dot of this football team. Okay? It's a nice way of teaching some of you out there what crypto is all about. And so, he has become the guy that is connecting all the bridges. The bridge of fans to the team, the bridge of media to the team, his bridge to his quarterbacks, his bridge to his coaches, his bridge to his players. And today he talked about how he uses his own personal, struggles like we all have. And it's always good to relate to other people who might be going through a tough time. Say, hey, man, I've been through this, or I've been through something similar. And it's always relatable. And that's how you build a bridge. You communicate. You find a common ground. And that's one of the vibes that I got out of that building today, is that we don't have Ireland fighting Parcells or fighting Philbin or fighting Sperano about what to pick, or Spielman fighting Wanstead and Wanstead fighting Spielman, and Jimmy and Danny and Danny and Jimmy. You get what I'm saying now? And Adam Gase, who invented social distancing before it even existed. Islands, no connections, no bridges, no rhyme, no reason. There's rhyme, there's reason, there's connections. And I give it all the credit goes to Mike McDaniel. Of course, the negative Nelly out there is going to say, well, none of that means anything. Who cares, dude? It only matters in week 2 when they're down by 14. I want to see how he responds. Okay, great. You're right. With all that anger you have bottled up right now, listening to the podcast, watching the show live, I get it. I'm not going to argue with you on that one. But how do you get there to succeed when you're down by 14 in the fourth quarter? This is what you need. You can't have a team on islands. You got to have a team that's connected, that's playing together, that's supporting each other. And that's the only way it's going to work out. I'll give you a story. So Tony Wise, one day, he was the offensive line coach. You won islands, right? I've been covering this team for 32 years. I kind of know what's gone on in and out with this stupid team at times in the past, that some of the shit that's gone on has driven me crazy. And I don't see any of it now, which is really, really impressive. So Tony Wise was really like Dave Wanstead's buddy. Okay? Like one of his best friends in the world. So he brings him from Chicago to coach the line here. So one day they're like in the middle of the season, I think it is, maybe 3/4 of the way. Things aren't, a little iffy. So he walks in, and Coach Wanstead's not in the room at that moment. And he goes to the chalkboard and starts drawing little boats. And then he draws an island, right? And then he looks at the rest of the coaches. And he says, you see all you guys out there? You're all in the U-boats. Me? I'm on the island. Kind of telling them, yeah, I'm with the coach and you guys are kind of on your own. You may have to find your own way. You might have to sink or swim. Can you imagine that? That's how you're facing your other coaches like that? You're bragging about how safe your job is and not theirs? Islands. And it's been like that for years here. From when Saban was here and you had Randy Mueller come and, okay, coach, ready for the draft. I got these reports. And then Saban says, oh, that's fantastic. I've got my own reports. It's like, you're a general manager, but I don't need you. I'm going to do my own thing. Islands. And that's because you inherit it. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean anything to you because he was there before with Philbin. You know, so it just, these are crazy things that have gone on over the years that you just, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? We've had all this mess. Ted Ginn, you name it, all that. I don't see any of that here. I don't see a front office fighting with their coach. I see a coach and a front office working together. I see a coach that is supportive of his players. I see a coach that has found a way to connect with his players. I see a coach that has created a vibe that the players are also supporting each other too at the same time. And I see also a lot of you out there that at the beginning, you might have looked at Mike McDaniel and said, he's kind of smallish, geeky, glasses, doesn't really look like a typical head coach. But then as time has gone on and you've gotten to know the man, and then the man has also reached out and extended that bridge to all of you by talking about himself personally, professionally, everything he's been through. He's been very honest. I think he's won a lot of people over. And so I'm not telling you that the ingredients are there and that's it. They're going to win it all, ladies and gentlemen, and it's over and let's go. Let's move forward. I'm not here to tell you that. All I'm telling you is that I like the foundation that they have developed right now to start this training camp. And I'd rather have a foundation where there aren't a bunch of holdouts or a couple holdouts or a key holdout or some kind of animosity or anything like. There's none of that going on. There's not a disgruntled player that wants off. There's not these. Here's the other thing that I like about this team. He sat there and I'm looking at this roster and I'm saying it's a pretty good roster, man. There's not a lot of holes in this roster. Kind of like that too. I really like the personnel decisions that they've made. So it was a nice start here. Again, big picture, we'll find out. This is all part of the building blocks. Now let's see if they can get there. But I really like what I'm seeing from that team and the vibe I'm getting from that team. I'll tell you that. What else do we have here on the chat board? Have y'all seen how late Tyreek is going in fantasy football drafts? People have lost their minds. He's going in the second to third rounds. Well, that's because they don't believe in Tua. That's why, because you have people that don't think that the offense will be explosive because they don't look at Tua as an explosive player, which is just stupid. But whatever, that's fine. I'm going to love Tua just, making so many people eat their words. Ray says, howdy-o, great question on the news conference with Coach. Well done. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. We asked a few questions to Tua, to Ron, and to Coach McDaniel. Let's see. Frankie Fresco says, anything really noticeable that we should know about the practice? Well, that's what the vibe is right now, because there's no pads. Frankie, I'm not going to go crazy about practice. Tua looks sharp. He looks sharp, man. Threw the ball around really well. It was nice to see Noah Igbenogany knock down a pass that was intended for Tyreek Hill. That was cool. And guys were really into it when he knocked down that pass. They really celebrated it. And I think because they know the kid, they know how hard he's working and trying to kind of break through with all of this, But it was a good thing, man. It was definitely a good thing. All right, if y'all want to get in, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. If you want to get in on the text line, on the Welt and Rayom text line, you can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. Remember, at 4 o'clock, we've got Matt Verderam joining us. Sean, do me a favor. Give me a 2-minute break here on the Big O radio show. We'll be back in 2 minutes right here on the Big O Show.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Sports Grill on Bird Road, Miami Lakes, and their newest location in Doral is now hiring. If you're looking to join a great company and South Florida institution, give them a ring or drop an email. Sports Grill is hiring all kinds of positions from hostess to servers, bartenders, or join the kitchen staff to craft some great food for their amazing customers. Please send your resume to m.cruz@sportsgrillmiami.com or call 305-219-5726. That's 305-219-5726. Sports Grill. Good food, good drink, good friends.
Red Recover now offers a simple-to-use, professional-grade light therapy device designed to help your dog heal and live a healthier life. Red Recover emits red and infrared light therapy based on the same science that NASA developed, all in a soft, flexible housing pad powered by a convenient, rechargeable lithium-ion battery. Give your dog the same therapy that many veterinarians use today, but at a fraction of the cost. Pads are available in 3 sizes and come with attachment straps, clips, and an easy-to-use manual. Red Recover can help your dog with arthritic conditions, muscle soreness, intervertebral disc disease, ACL rehabilitation, performance, aging, and general health and happiness. You simply place the pad over the desired area and allow our proprietary Tri-Light therapeutic wrap to penetrate deep into the tissue, where a number of healing parameters will be stimulated. When starting treatment, apply for 10 to 15 minutes daily and lessen the application time as needed for best results. Say yes to science and give your dog the care it deserves with Red Recover.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
We are back. Thank you all. I had to take that phone call. It was very important, so I apologize. We don't do a lot of breaks on this show, as you all know. We do a lot of talking, a lot of content. We do very little breaks here. What else do we have? All right. Good day. Overall, Teron Armstead was limited, but he was the left tackle. Eichenberg, the left guard, Connor Williams, the center, Robert Hunt, the right guard, Austin Jackson, the right tackle. Alec Ingold was also a little limited too. Mostert was limited. Sony Michel was limited. Agba and X-Man. A lot of that is, I told you guys this, right? Byron Jones is not practicing yet. He's expected. The coach says that Byron told me they're expected to have him ready for week 1. So that's the important part. But I told you guys this already before. It's a blessing that he's out. Noah gets the playing time today. He got the deflected pass, which is good for his confidence. And you've got to give Noah playing time. That's what he needs more than anything else. I don't care what anybody tells me. He needs scrimmage. He needs to be practicing. He needs those practices that they're going to have against the Bucks, and I forgot what's the other damn team that they're going to practice against. Those two practices are just absolutely awesome for Noah. That's the kind of stuff that you want him to get reps, because think about this. If you're able to develop Noah this year, then all of a sudden, okay, you've got a terrific slot corner. And I don't know if Thrill maybe can play a little slot also, but if Noah is ready to play on the outside, if God forbid anything happens to X or Byron Jones, you now have somebody competent and ready to go. And remember, the Byron Jones contract is one that you're going to want to get out of in another year or two. So it would be perfect right now for Noah to break out this year and develop this year, where everybody goes, whoa, okay, now we see it. And then now you can then make the move with Byron Jones down the line. Even though Byron Jones is a solid player, does a really good job overall. But that's what you want to do with the cap. That's how you want to work it. You know what I mean? And that's where I think this one is good. The Eagles, thank you, guys. Yes, the Eagles is the other one, and they have a pretty good receiving core, so that's actually going to be good work for Noah. That's really one of the things you want to accomplish throughout this training camp and preseason is you want to feel better about Noah Igbenogany, not only because of your first round pick and all that other stuff. No. It's because depth is amazing. And if you can have another corner come off the bench that is pretty damn good, that's a blessing right there. And then also it justifies the pick, which is ultimately what you want. But there you go. It's good stuff for Noah right now. And this is a good moment for him to start off training camp. And hopefully he can build from this and get better. But you got Noah out there. They signed cornerback Tino Ellis also, and they signed Mohamed Sanu. Now, let's talk a little bit about Mohamed Sanu. Do not get excited in any way, shape, or form with Mohamed Sanu. He's in his 30s. He's not in the prime of his career. He's on the back nine of his career and probably on the 18th hole already. And here's the thing. Let's break down the wide receiving core just in case, because a buddy of mine goes, well, they signed Mohamed Sanu. What do you think? I'm like, he's got no shot. He's like, what are you talking about? So I explained it to him. And let me break it down for some of you out there. You've got Tyreek, Waddle, and Cedric Wilson. They love Cedric Wilson. Let me repeat again. They love Cedric Wilson. Okay? Cedric Wilson's the guy that's going to, because everybody knows Tyreek and Waddle, and Ced gets no love. And Ced is the guy that's going to surprise a lot of people, and they're going to say, holy crap, we got a pretty damn good slot guy and a big slot guy. Wow, they can move him to the outside at times, because he can be moved around a little bit. That's what people don't realize with this guy. So you've got those three, and you've got Ezukama. And he's going to be kind of a wild card where they're going to use him a little bit like Debo and some running plays and things like that. I think you're going to see that. So let me explain. If Mohamed Sanu is playing, it's because bad news happened. You know what bad news means? Tyreek, Waddle, Cedric, those guys got injured. And they're out. Because Mohamed Sanu can only take their positions. He cannot take Sherfield's spot or maybe Lynn Bowden's spot. You know why? Because he's not a special teamer. So he's not going to get the 5th and the 6th spot on this team because he's not a gunner and he's not a returner. If you can't help out on special teams on the back end, you can't do the stupidity that they did last year with this dumbass coach that they had last year that kept 7 receivers and a bunch of them couldn't do anything on special teams. You can't keep Preston Williams on the back end unless he's an absolute monster that you can't let go, and he hasn't been that. And he doesn't help you out on special teams. Remember last year they had Albert Wilson, who doesn't help you out on special teams. Then why the hell do you have him on as your 6th or 7th receiver? What kind of a dumbass luxury is that? And it just seems to me like there's a lot more, I don't know if the Crawcraft guy is anywhere near it, but he's also a guy that helps out on special teams. And that's going to be very important. So Sanu, really, he's just a camp body. He's just kind of an insurance policy if a worst case scenario develops. So if you think Mohamed Sanu is something that's needed on this team, if Mohamed Sanu is needed, it's a bad thing. Okay? Not a good thing if Mohamed Sanu is still on this team in September and October. That's a bad thing. That tells me that what happened was not good. (855-912-1056). That's 855-912-1056 if you want to get in on the Welt and Rheaume text line, the law office you want to call. By the way, To Extreme in the house, and what up? Adrian Garcia in. Don't forget, folks, smash the hell out of the like button. Very important. All right, don't know if you saw Tua's press conference. We want to play Tua's press conference. I want to go over some of his comments, and we're going to pause also at the same time when I want to go over one of his points. Ho Yoon, thank you, sir, for the love on the Venmo. Thank you very much. Cash Big O Show is the address on Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show if you want to make a donation. Ho Yoon, thank you very much, sir, as always supporting the show, man. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so let's bring up the Tua press conference there, Sean. So Tua addressed the meteors today after
Good to be back with you guys. We're really sorry.
There we go. Back after practice, by the way. He looked sharp. He looked good. I can't wait for this season. I'm so excited for him because I just think he has the environment he needs now to succeed. So let's go with Tua, and let's hear his comments as he addresses the media.
From yesterday, being able to see the guys, we were able to see some new additions in our locker room with games that are competitive. We got a little ping pong set in the locker room. We got some darts. We got some cornhole, and they also have like a half basketball court, shooting only, obviously because we don't want you guys getting hurt. But I think it's really cool as far as the bonding time that we get with one another throughout this training camp.
Who's got the best shot on the team?
I'm not too sure. They say the receivers are the best shooters on the team, but I don't know. They haven't seen the quarterback shoot.
Whose face from these guys goes on the dartboard first?
Oh, well, I haven't seen too many guys playing on the dartboard, so I got to say something about our team. I don't know if we're a good dartboard team. Yeah, I would say that being hard on myself is all this. I think for any competitor, that's the way we've kind of grown to become as professional athletes. I think everyone's hard on themselves at a certain extent, but for me, I know my capabilities, and so when I'm not playing up to it or living up to it, then it gets frustrating. I think everyone on the team feels the same way when they don't do their job the way they're supposed to do it, because overall it either benefits the team or it doesn't.
Ron mentioned that they don't put pressure on you, there's no pressure on you, but do you feel pressure on yourself? Do you put pressure on yourself?
I would say I never put pressure on myself, but it comes with the position. Pressure's always there. Playing this position, and playing in the NFL. I think for any professional athlete, everyone can attest that it's unadded pressure. We put that pressure on ourselves to compete every day to be the best, do things the right way, and to try to do things the right way consistently.
So how would you assess?
All right, so let's go over that. Let's go over that with their pause there, Sean. We can. You know, when this pressure stuff, I think I'm not. I don't think shit. I'm positive of this. Do you guys know that this guy's lived with pressure forever? It's like this is normal for him. It's almost like some people make it sound like this is a guy that's never performed on a big stage, never been asked to come in big situations and come through, and he does, and he has. And I think that as much as the coach talked about today that he doesn't want Tua to be as hard on himself as he is, that's what great players are. The great players, the great CEO, the great manager, the great employee, the great fruit seller, the great hairstylist, they're never satisfied. They shouldn't be satisfied. They might be happy with something that they accomplish, but it's not enough. They can do better. They are thinking, what's next? You ever met that person? They're usually pretty successful. And that's what these guys are. That's how these guys are wired. The difference is there's a lot of people that feel pressure, and then there are others that feed off of pressure. And the Tuas of the world and the Tyreeks and the Teron Armsteads and all those kind of guys, they live off of this shit. This is their drug. This is the drug that they never end up enjoying once they walk away from the game, because nothing will test them like this. And that's what it's all about. So when you're somebody that's a motivational speaker, are you afraid walking out into that auditorium with 25,000 people, 20,000 people, 10,000 people watching you? No, you're looking forward to it. Right? It's good pressure. That's the way they look at it. We keep phrasing it like they're afraid, like it's something that, oh my God, it's a daunting task. No, man. No. Elton John goes on stage to do what he's been doing forever, and he feels super confident. Might there be a little butterflies every once in a while? Sure. And then he overcomes them right away, and he keeps going like it's normal. Any astronaut that is going out in space, is there some butterflies? Yeah, but they want it. They want the pressure. They want the excitement. They want to explore the final frontier, as Mr. Kirk would say. That's what it's all about. They don't think about the spaceship exploding. They don't think about, oh my God, something can happen to me in space. They don't think about anything. They think about making history. They think about accomplishing whatever goal it is. And they love that kind of pressure. And some of you out there, you face your own kinds of pressure every single day or month when you've got to pay your mortgage and you've got to pay, your car bills, and you got to take care of your kids and all that. Different kind of pressure, but it's the same thing. But in this kind of work, you feed off of this. This is what Joe Rose now misses, because he'll never have that kind of challenge ever again. This is what O.J. McDuffie misses, because he'll never be challenged like he was with the Miami Dolphins. These guys feed off of this, and everybody keeps thinking that they are afraid of this, and especially that dude. When you watch them at Alabama, when you're playing on the biggest stage of college football, and my God, it's like an NFL team playing for Alabama. It's like an NFL stadium. It's like NFL coverage. The damn SEC is the closest thing we have to the NFL. The TV coverage is sick. The attention in the entire Southeast and the rest of the country. That dude eats it up alive. That dude, he won't tell you, but I bet you he's dying to stick it to those of you that don't believe in him. All right, let's continue with Tua Tagovailoa.
Mike said, I'm always hard on myself, so I would never say I had the best practice or it was a great practice. I think overall it was a good first day of practice. Obviously, there's things that we can work on, but it's the best when you get to come back, you get to get back out on the field, throw to the guys, see coverage again, get back into the groove of things. I think once you get into your rhythm, that's when things start to click on both sides.
So we heard Mike say he was impressed with the attitude and energy of people coming back from summer break. What have you noticed about that mentality coming off of that long break?
Yeah, I think everyone's excited, but I think one thing is not to be lost in translation. A lot of guys are working throughout the offseason. I'm not one on social media, but Coach had a presentation he shared with us yesterday, and he took a screenshot of everyone that posted their workouts, and he showed all of them, and dang near half the team. I wasn't on there because I guess I don't take pictures enough to post them on my social media. So
you can lift one from Nick.
I mean, I wasn't really many training days.
Plenty of social media.
I think it's more Tyreek from what I hear. Tyreek, but
Coach talked about your role as a leader on this team. How would you feel about captaincy this year?
Say what?
Captaincy. How would you feel about the team?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, whether I go up to speak on behalf of me wanting to be a captain, or the team is voting and there's these candidates, I think it comes with my position to always be a leader. And for me, I've always said that I'm not the kind of person to get in front of people and scream and lead in that way. But I try to lead in my actions, and try to lead in a way that helps our team get better. That's building relationships with the guys. It also helps, when being able to come on, hold all these other games every now.
What's it like getting that?
All right, so let's get to that one, because I asked McDaniel today about when and how he names his captains, and does he and how does he use them as a vehicle to connect with the team. And he kind of went into it. By the way, he's not going to pick the captains. The players, he will allow the players to pick the captains. And I think this is one of those where, again, we've kind of made a little too much of it also with Tua, but this goes with the territory. Everybody blows up everything. You know what I mean? And I think this is a kid that will be definitely, selected as captain. And in the end, when you're getting support from your head coach, you're going to get support from your players. But if you show inconsistencies at the top, it clouds the message as it gets down to everybody else. And that's what would happen with Flo. There was no consistency in the message. And the only consistency that he had in his message was that he wasn't a Tua guy. And he constantly proved that over and over again. So then you can't expect players to then, follow suit and say, oh, he's the leader of the team. He's the guy when wait a minute, the coach is not giving him the time of day. That kind of stuff. Plus, as you know, there was already a reported heated exchange between those two at one point. None of this helps. Now it's his team. He gets the opportunity to lead. He gets the opportunity to connect with people. And I think he probably wasn't even connecting with people the same way last year. And that's the problem with your coach when he creates a disconnect, when there's no bridge. We talked about this to start the show. And that's the problem with Tua. and many other things that were going on. There was no bridge. Now there's a bridge. Now there's a foundation. Now there's a belief. And I think having all of those ingredients, that gives Tua the opportunity to go out there and be the leader to then complement his talents. And I think that will all fall in place this year. Again, different vibe from that facility today. All right, fire away, Sean. Let's continue with Tua, please.
Yeah, it's cool. Tyreek is someone that has established himself in this league, and to have the support from him means a lot. I'm glad to have him as my team.
When you hear it, is it just like
Jalen having him this offseason? Have you seen any growth or things that Jalen's picked up playing next to him so far?
Jalen playing next to Tyreek? Well, I think all the guys picked up on something little from every person that has come through the building with us. With Tyreek's not one to think he knows it all. Guys that are way younger than him, he takes advice from them. He asks them questions, and I think that's cool. And he creates that atmosphere for everyone in the receiver that, hey, you're never too good to not take, coaching from even your guys.
Tua, on that ball beside with Tyreek, the ball came out pretty early on that. How much confidence do you get from a guy that kind of wins so early, and how much does it help you anticipate earlier in your kind of progression?
I think our throws are always dependent on coverage. It was man, they tried to spin the coverage, running. It was some kind of blur coverage. We spotted it, and Tyreek was one outside, gave him an opportunity, and made the play.
So when you hear things,
competition with Teddy Bridgewater out there, how is it like having him in the quarterback?
I think it's amazing having Teddy. I've been very fortunate to have guys that are a lot older than me, more experienced than me in the room. My first year with Fitz, my second year with Jacoby Brissett, and then now my third year with someone who's relatively close friends with Jacoby and Teddy. So. I think it's cool. You can learn from everyone. So it's been good adaptation.
So when you hear Tyreek say these things, or the word gets back to you, are you like this again, or what does he say now? And I guess, what do you feel in the reaction to when you hear things that he says about you positively?
Well, I would say that's just Tyreek's personality. Tyreek's going to speak how he feels at that very moment. He just believes what he says every time. If he feels he's the best at this, he's going to let you know out there on the field. If he feels, someone's talking too much and he wants to go against them, he's going to let them know what he's going to do to him. That's just his personality. And I think it's fun to have that kind of personality on the team. But for me, again, like I said, it's awesome to have that kind of support from somebody like that.
Is he at your house?
I think with those kind of conversations, I think it's best to keep it private. I never want to share anything that I feel like Coach wouldn't want out. So I think that's probably for him to kind of share. But I think everyone has their own motive for playing this sport. A lot of us grew up loving the sport. A lot of us grew up playing it since we were little. But a lot of us have families that we got to take care of. And we use this sport as an avenue to help us for after football.
Tua, how new is all of this training camp coming in? Your offense, your teammates. I know there's new teammates every year, but
yeah, I think every year feels like a new year. But football season never feels like it ends. This off season, you're training. And when you don't want to train, you got to go do something. Paddleboard or play something to keep active. But to me, every season feels like a new season.
Tua, what kind of foundation, as you guys are picking up this new offense, what kind of foundation did spring practice set for you guys to start that in training camp?
I think it set a really good foundation, and it helped that a lot of the guys showed up to our OTAs. We got to really work on things that out here would probably not look as good if guys didn't come out to OTAs. A lot of the timing, just figuring out the offense and the little intricacies of the details that Mike wants us to kind of work on and understand. We got to do that throughout this offseason. We're looking forward to all of that showing throughout this training camp and the season.
Expectations have been so high for you at every point of your athletic career. Pee-wee, high school, drafted into the NFL. And now it seems like maybe more than ever there are people in the media, coaches, executives, whatever, who are questioning your ceiling, even your ability. How do you process that? How do you feel about that? How much of a change is that?
Well, I don't know any of those guys. So if that's what they have to say, then good for them. That's probably a good thing for them to say. They draw people for clickbait or I don't know, whatever that is. But to me, if I can't hear you, then you're not that important. If you're in my circle and I can hear you, what you're saying, obviously you got to be extremely important to me. So if I can't hear it, then it's probably not important.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
By the way, I loved that freaking answer. That was Joe Schad, by the way. That was his first day back. So I talked to Joe. We'll get him back on soon. We got to get the sponsor lined up, by the way. So if you're a sponsor out there and you want to sponsor Joe Schad's Miami Dolphins updates, reach out to us on our business line at 786-754-4664. Very popular segment on the show. So we will get Joe Schad back now that I saw him. But he was asking about how people are questioning his ability and all of that kind of stuff. And I loved his answer. His answer basically was, well, those people are doing it for clickbait or for whatever. I'm not following it. I don't know about it. I don't care. Unless you're in my circle, I won't know what you're saying. And unless you're in my circle, you're not important to me. And I love that answer because that's kind of the way. You don't want to live the life of Kevin Durant, where your ears are up and you're responding to everything and you're so desperate to respond to everything that you've got to go get burner accounts, that kind of stuff. It's like, dude, you're Kevin Durant. You're going to have idiots. Just let it go. Forget about it. It is what it is. And that's basically what Tua's saying. The haters, the naysayers, the doubters, all that's, he's not paying attention. And let me tell you, a lot of times that's bull crap, right? But in his case, it might actually be the truth. In his case, he looks like the kind of guy that really doesn't do social media. Apparently, Mike McDaniel posted in the offseason all the workouts from all the players in front of everybody. Tua had none because he doesn't post anything. Now, Nick, his trainer, posted, right? But that's not Tua. But he posted a whole bunch of players posting their workouts. But what happens in the Tua world for the Tua haters or the Tua doubters or whatever you people want to call yourselves? Nick puts it out, his trainer, and then people say, oh, Tua is showing off, putting out his training. No, it's not Tua, dude. It's the trainer doing it. He's got to sell his job because he trains several players, so he puts out videos of all the players, including Tua. That's one of his guys. But Tua's world is different than the average because it's just he is polarizing. But I love the answer. Yeah, I'm not hearing you. You're not in my circle. You're not important. I like that. I like it. Squeeze, Big O, is it really difficult as we fans make it out to be to go out and ball or just players? No, it's not easy at this level. Nothing is easy at this level, my brother. Everything at this level takes incredible dedication. You're not going to get by half-ass like Kyler Murray. You're not going to get by without studying, without preparing. This isn't high school and college when you're clearly more talented than everybody else. You better be very prepared, physically, mentally, everything. This is incredibly hard to ball out at this level. Big O made the selfie with the coach. Yes, sir. Let's see. Joe is back. Any update? We'll see. We shall see. I'm working on it. And if there's a sponsor out there that wants to step up and sponsor Joe Schad's updates, well, you're more than welcome. 786-754-4664. That's our business line. Call me, send me a text there, and we shall talk a little business. Bromar says, just tuning in. What did I miss? Well, all you got to do is rewind. Big O, who was your biggest surprise from practice today? Well, Noah, I guess, getting the deflected pass. That was cool. That was nice to see. Listen, they're without pads. I'm not going to go crazy here telling you. Tua looked sharp. I'll tell you that. He threw several really nice passes. Tyreek looked explosive. Waddle did too. I like a lot of what I saw, but again, no pads. No pads. Let's see. I can rewind, but live is the best. Thank you, sir. Big O roasting Omar. Well, we had to roast him. You know me. I'm a ball buster as it is. That's kind of my nature. And Omar pulled out a phone that's like, I don't know, from 2002 or something. It was sad. Sad. I was looking at him, I was going, Omar, bro, let's go. Increase the budget at the Sun Sentinel. If he's still there. Anyway, if you all want to get in, 855-912-1056. If you want to get in on the Welt and Realm text line, that's 855-912-1056. Acura Pembroke Pines, a proud sponsor of our program, folks. 14 years now, they're celebrating their anniversary. In 12 straight years, they've dominated as the number one volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. And right now, they've got the 2023 Integra in. Go check it out for yourself. It is absolutely amazing. 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. Finest dealership in the business, baby. It is Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. All right, we got a little action today on the diamond. So why don't we do this? Why don't we do our liquor split matchup of the night?
It's time to tap that app. And no one loves to tap that app like the Big O. Here's the liquor split matchup of the night.
Right, there we go. Last night, we got you back into the win column with our liquor split matchup of the night. We told you to take the Reds plus 1.5. I know Pablo was pitching, and he pitched a fantastic game. 7 innings, 11 Ks, a 3.03 ERA. Awesome. Wendell, Mr. Wendell again, 305, 2 RBIs, batting 300. And they ended up winning by 1 run, 2-1. So we won by half a run. We're back in the win column. And don't forget, you can order your favorite liquor, beer, chips, some smokes. Go to liquorsplit.com, download it, iOS or Android. Your first order, Little Havana, Miami, Coral Gables, your first order, use the code BIG-O15. You will get 15% off your first order, BIG-O15 at liquorsplit.com. So check it out. So tonight, they continue their set with the Reds, 640. Braxton Garrett is on the mound. Luis Castillo, not the former Marlins shortstop, the pitcher for the Reds. Garrett, by the way, is 2-3 with a 3.42 ERA. He hasn't pitched poorly. And Luis Castillo's actually been pretty good with a 3-4 mark, but a 2.77 ERA. Cincinnati is favored by 1.5. The over and under is 8. Miami is plus 135 in the money line, and Cincy is minus 160. Well, today on the liquor split matchup of the night, I'm going to go with the home team here. I'm going to go with the Reds. I'm going to take I'm going to lay the 1.5 here. That Marlin offense is just not enough, and Castillo's actually done a half decent job of pitching. So I'm going to lay the 1.5 runs here, and I think the Reds unfortunately will edge the Marlins here in our liquor split matchup of the night.
The matchup of the night is brought to you by Liquor Split, Miami's own online liquor store. Liquor Split. Download the Tap That app and get your favorite liquor delivered to you for just $2.99. No risk, no drinking and driving. Tap that app with Liquor Split.
Rod, it's a beautiful thing. Okay, hour number 1 is done. We will head off to hour number 2. And the great Matt Verderam, baby. We step into the huddle, the redrecover.com huddle. That is next.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
Let's huddle up with Fanside National NFL reporter Matt Verderam. The huddle is brought to you by redrecover.com. Redrecover.com's wraps and pads are designed to deliver maximum benefits with each treatment anywhere you go. Go to redrecover.com to learn more about red light with videos, blog posts, and over 40 years of medical research to treat pain, inflammation, and overall well-being. Here's NFL reporter Matt Verderam.
All right, there he is. Let's step into the Red Recover huddle right here with Matt Verderam. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderam and check out his exceptional work there at Fansided and the podcast also. He does every single week. Stack in the Box, correct? It is called Stack in the Box. Am I correct?
Stack in the Box.
That's it. We're stacking the box. I watched your boy. Man, I got to tell you, Tyreek is just, he's looking fantastic, man. Watching Tyreek, I went out to practice today for the first day and no pads, so it's not a big deal. But watching the receivers run around, that Tyreek Hill and Waddle combination, I was telling my friend this, Tyreek's never played with a receiver like this. He's played with a great tight end. Obviously, I'll play with a pretty good one here in Gesicki. He's not Kelsey, but he's pretty good. But he never really had a Waddle opposite of him. And I'm really interested to see how that combination helps each other out, right? Because the impressive thing last year, Matt, was Waddle was the only guy on offense. You knew he was getting the ball, and yet you couldn't stop him from getting 100+ balls, throughout the year. So to me, that's super impressive that it's a rookie. You knew he was getting the ball, and you still couldn't stop it with a bad offensive line and all that kind of stuff. So I'm interested to see the dynamics of those two. And obviously, you being a KC fan, you can elaborate a little bit on Tyreek having this kind of a buddy now on the field.
Well, I mean, look, they're going to have more speed than any defense knows what to do with. And that's kind of the idea of this. Now, you're right. I agree with you. I think probably the best receiver he ever played with in Kansas City is probably Sammy Watkins. They won the Super Bowl. Right. Jeremy Maclin was there his rookie year. Maclin had over 1,000 yards, I think, that season. But no, Waddle is the best wide receiver he's ever played with. And you mentioned Gesicki. I think rightfully so. Gesicki is a very good player, and he's motivated this year to have a great year. He's on the franchise tag, so you're trying to get a long-term deal, whether it's in Miami or elsewhere. Look, I think what's going to be fascinating with the Dolphins early is, of course, no one's seen this offense. No one's seen Mike McDaniel as a head coach. It's a lot of uncertainty. Right. And I think that will benefit them early in the year.
I agree.
Now, I'm fascinated to see, do defenses, do they back up and do they play too high, as we saw Kansas City play like that forever? Because everybody said, well, my God, Mahomes and Hill and Watkins and even Hardman's speed. I mean, you wanted to back up. Or the teams say, we're going to choke off everything short and everything underneath. and we're going to make Tua beat us down the field.
That will be early on. They have to do that early on, Matt.
I agree with you.
Because until the line can punch you in the mouth and shove the ball down your throat for 4 yards, and when that happens, then any quarterback will then have a much better passing game. And now you're talking about linebackers going, am I on my heels? Am I on my toes? What am I doing here? And that's when you've got them on the rocker, and that's when you can, get them off kilter. In fact, I asked Teron Armstead that question today about, hey, what assurances do you feel that you're going to finally fix this offensive line? Because it's been a real problem. You know what I mean? And he's a stud, but he's not going to be able to carry the line by himself. And hell, you're a Kansas City fan. 2 years ago, bro, Pat Mahomes needed life insurance almost because they almost killed him in that Super Bowl because he didn't have a line. And that's Pat Mahomes, dude. So until that line wakes up, I think you're right, Matt. They're going to choke. They're going to try to choke them out early on.
I think if you're a defense, you have to think, look, you're not getting free yards at the line of scrimmage, and we're going to make you protect long enough to throw the ball down the field, and we're going to challenge Tua to do it because throughout his career to this point, it's been a lot of dink and dunk by way of A, the line hasn't been good, B, that's been the way the offense has been structured. Now, and with McDaniel, it's interesting. He comes from the 49ers. The 49ers are very much run first, a lot of play action, a lot of RPOs. They want to get the ball in a playmaker's hands like Kittle or Deebo Samuel and let him run after the catch. And I think teams try the best they can to take that away and force the ball deep down the field. My big thing with the Dolphins early, they've got to make teams respect the fact that with Waddle and Hill, if you're going to do that, we can torch you down the field.
Right.
We're going to hit you for big plays, and then teams will back up. Then teams will say, look, it's comical watching the Chiefs sometimes. There are teams that will literally put their safeties 25 yards off the line of scrimmage because they'll let the Chiefs walk all the way down the field and then just say, well, we're going to try to stop you in the red zone. And if you're an offense, I think in today's game, that's where you want to be. You want to be in a spot where you just walk down the field and then you execute situational football inside the 20-yard line. And I think for Miami right now, if you can prove that you can hit on those big gainers down the field, teams will back up. But until that happens, teams will say, we're not giving you free 7 yards. Why would we? You're going to have to prove it. And I think that's going to be the crux of their offense early in the year.
I'm with you there. And again, if they get that running game going, and that's the Shanahan thing with McDaniel. Everywhere he's been, that's kind of been. And let me tell you something: the team you root for, like Andy Reid's known as this passing guru, but the running game has always been an enormous part of Philadelphia or the Chiefs' offense. If Andy can run the ball, he's going to run the hell out of the ball too if he can. You know what I mean?
Except in the AFC Championship game when the Bengals are playing a 3-man front and the Chiefs just decide to run the ball like 4 times the entire half, and it cost them a shot at the Super Bowl. But to your point, I will say one thing with Andy Reid's offense is it gets overlooked, and it's not running the ball, but it's an extension of it. No team runs a better or more complex screen game than Kansas City. They will throw, and it could be to the back, it could be to a tight end, it could be to a receiver. The Chiefs run a million different looks where they get guys out in space. And I think that's one of the reasons they drafted Creed Humphrey at center in the second round last year is he's athletic. Right. And they missed that when Mitch Morse left to go to Buffalo a few years ago. Like that is something.
Hilaire got injured too 2 years
got hurt.
ago, right?
Yeah, he
that
got hurt.
Him too.
McKinnon was in out of the lineup, and McKinnon, when he was healthy last year, played really well for him, but he was hurt a lot. He ended up actually really being a big piece in the playoffs. But that's why I think you saw them bring in Ronald Jones this year. The point is, that is one thing with that offense. People focus on Hill and Kelsey, and rightfully so. I mean, they are the stars of the show from a target perspective. But if you watch them, they kill teams on 1st and 10 with just getting a free 8 yards. They'll hit Hardman on a slip screen, and he runs for 5 and dives for 3 more. And now it's 2nd and 2. And if you're a defense, it's like, okay, well, are you going to bring up guys to stop the run, or are you just and let Mahomes try to hit you with a deep shot? 30 yards down the field in a zone, or are you just going to back up and let him run for 5 yards? And that is where Miami has weapons now to scare the hell out of teams, but they've got to be able to block, and Tua's got to be able to prove that he can make them pay in a way that he hasn't really had an opportunity to make people pay the first couple of years of his career.
Yeah, the one thing that I will say, and I think what's completely changed in that building, you had the front office battling the coach. The coach was embattled sometimes with his own assistant coaches or even players. There was a lot of disconnect. And the one thing that I will give Mike McDaniel credit is he's built bridges with everybody, even the media, everything. And again, none of this means anything until week 4 when you're down by 14 in the fourth quarter, and let's see how you respond. I get all of that, but you don't get there without having at least a start of a good foundation, because you could be in other places where there are maybe holdouts going on, there's bitterness going on, there's a quarterback that might be facing suspensions, whatever. There are different. Hell, we've had those kind of situations here in Miami. We've had the off the field stuff, and I give them credit that McDaniel at least has created an environment that everybody's supportive of each other, and now they're going in, and this is at least that gives you a fighting chance, dude, in a brutal game.
And look, they're going to be tested early. While we're talking, I pulled up the schedule.
Oh yeah, those 4 weeks, bro.
I mean, they're home to New England. Now, they always seem to beat the hell out of New England. It seems they always find a way to beat them. But to play them week 1, that's never easy. I don't care who you are. Belichick will always make those games hard. Then they go to Baltimore, which is a very difficult game. Then they come home and play the Bills in what is somewhat of a measuring stick game early in the year. I think the Bills are as good as anybody, if not better than anybody else in football. That is a team that if you can win that game, even though it's a home game and all that would announce, hey, we're here. We've arrived as a team that can maybe even push for the division. And then you're at the Bengals. I mean, that is I can't speak for Dolphins fans. I got to say, if you come out at 2-2, you should be thrilled. I mean,
can I say something?
Sure, yeah. Sure.
But you said they give New England problems, right? And I think they beat them twice last year, right? I think. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And didn't they come up with the cover 0 on Lamar Jackson that everybody goes, oh shit, we better do that also? They blitzed him like he had never been blitzed before in his life.
Yes.
They basically told him, kid, you're not running today. We're getting after your ass, and you better beat us with your arm, and you better make a quick decision. And they knew that he couldn't do that, right? So you really think about it, if they're better, yeah, it's a really tough 4-game stretch. But if you really have the answer to Lamar Jackson and you kind of give, New England some trouble,
right?
Okay, it's a tough stretch, but those 2 games actually are winnable for them at this point in time.
I think of the 4, they're probably the 2 games that you'd say, well, they're going to win it because look, I know
the Bills, my brother. The Bills are
are tough. The Bills and the Bills are built in a way that's hard for Miami because Buffalo with all those corners and they're difficult. But the Bengals game could be interesting because they cannot cover the Dolphins. That could be interesting. That could be a horse race up and down.
Oh, Matt, let me ask you: are the Bengals for real? Or is this because I'm old, bro, and I watched Boomer Esiason get to the Super Bowl and then they faded away. I watched Ken Anderson because I'm old in the early '80s get to the Super Bowl and then never do it again. Although I got to give Mike Brown credit, that son of a bitch never spends money, and he bought 3 linemen this year. So that's the one thing that I will give him credit. But there's a part of me that goes, is this the same thing that's happened before, that they make their one run and then it's over again, But the difference is Mike Brown's actually spending now, which is just like weird.
It's funny because he is. And I actually wrote about this recently. In the last 2 years, they've spent over $250 million on free agents. But here's the rub. Only 74 of it's been guaranteed. They do not spend guaranteed money. And so you wonder when like that Jesse Bates thing fell apart because they wouldn't give him guaranteed money. And Jesse Bates was like, are you kidding me? I have $13 million on a tag and you're going to offer me $4 extra million over 5 years?
It's Mike Brown, dude. That's what I'm telling you.
It's so insulting. It's so insulting. It's incredible. And look, you were practicing. You've been in locker room, so have I. guys look at that and go, well, I'm going to bust my ass and this team's not even going to pay me. If
Right.
they didn't pay Jesse, they're not paying me.
Right.
And that's a problem. Like, that's a real thing that happens in locker rooms. But that being said, I do think the Bengals are for real because I think the quarterbacks are real and I think they have great weapons. Do I think they're going back to the Super Bowl this year? No. Do I think they're a playoff team that could win a game or two? Yeah, I do. I honestly do. Defensively, they were a lot better in the playoffs than people gave them credit for. Now, the concern is in the playoffs, they played Tennessee, who has no offense. And they played the Raiders, who were, a great story in the sense that Carr overcame a whole bunch of awful stuff during the season. But I don't think anybody felt the Raiders were a world beater. The Chiefs game, they were getting pounded in, and then the Chiefs self-destructed in the second half of the game. Not taking away from Cincinnati, but the Chiefs did as much to beat themselves as the Bengals did. My point is, I think they're very good. I wouldn't be shocked if Baltimore won the division. I also wouldn't be shocked if Cincy does. I think it's a two-horse race. But here's a fun little note for the listeners. There are only 3 quarterbacks in NFL history that have ever lost the first Super Bowl that they started in and gone on to win a Super Bowl throughout the rest of their career. Do you know who they are?
Bob Greasy is one of them.
Yep.
He's
the hardest one, I think.
Oh, John Elway's the other. How many do we have? How many did you say?
3.
3 that lost their first and then came back to win it.
Yes, as a starter at any point in their careers.
Yeah. Montana won it. Bradshaw won his first.
Think early.
So I'm talking 70s, 60s?
Yep. You got Greasy, you got Elway.
Shit, was it Len Dawson?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, because he lost the early one and then won against. Right.
So
yes.
Burrow is fighting up a hill. If you typically lose your first Super Bowl, you don't win the Super Bowl. A lot of those guys never got back. Now, Burrow, I think, look, he's a great player. He's young. He's talented. He's got as good a shot as anybody to get back. But it's hard. It's hard. And
Marino, bro. Marino.
Right. I mean, if he couldn't get back, right, exactly. Right. I mean, Jim Kelly got 4 bites at that apple and couldn't do it. Like, Warren Moon never got to an AFC championship game. Like,
and he's so awesome. Freaking awesome, dude. Warren Moon was so fantastic, man.
Unbelievable.
God, what a great quarterback.
And never got to a conference title game. Like, so while I think the Bengals are for real, it is hard. And you look at that conference, Buffalo's terrific. I still think Kansas City's excellent. You have Indianapolis, who's better. Baltimore, who's very good. You have Miami, who's much improved. You have all these teams. The Broncos got Russell Wilson. The Chargers are really talented. Like, the Bengals could be excellent this year and not win a playoff game. And so I think they're good. I do think they'll be in the playoffs, by the way. But I think, history says it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Yeah. It really will be.
Yeah, it's really. And I was just talking to somebody in the building today. It's just about just surviving the next couple of weeks to get to the season. Yes. That's the other thing that they're like. That's what football people tell you, man. We just want to get through this, right? We just want to get through this in one piece, so we got a chance. Because the most deflating thing for a team, for fans, whatever, is when you suffer an injury early on that it's an injury you cannot recover from. It doesn't matter, bro. You're done, and it just takes away from the team, and it takes away a lot. And I think that's what every football fan is doing right now, is crossing their fingers for the next couple of weeks that their favorite team doesn't suffer that huge setback.
I say this every year on every show I go on. I write it. If you care about your team's preseason record, you're insane. The only thing that I know, obviously, you got a lot of Miami people listen. The Dolphins could lose 3 games by a combined score of 300-0, and if nobody gets hurt, they won. That's like every day I always look at Twitter. And I'm watching these camps. I'm talking to people in the league, and he's just hoping that nobody big goes down. I remember last year when the Ravens, on back-to-back plays in practice, had Gus Edwards and Marcus Peters both tear ACLs. I know it sounds bizarre to say this. Their season was done. Like, their season between those guys and J.K. Dobbins in the preseason is done. It was done. Yeah. The team, like, you're not recovering from your top corner going down. And them, look, normally you'd say, well, a running back, but with them, it's so important. I mean, it's so critical for
Oh,
them.
it's not only that, you lost your 1, your 2, your number 3 running back. That's the thing. You were playing your 5th and 6th and 7th backs as the year went on. I mean, how
It's
good
so
can
hard.
you be at that point, you know?
It's so hard to overcome that stuff. Look, and I look at the AFC this year, maybe more than any other year. This season is going to come down to who's healthy at the right time. What team maybe has some injuries mid-season, okay, but by December, by January, they're healthy and they're right. I remember the year the Bucs won the Super Bowl. The Bucs had injuries throughout the year, but they got right. They got healthy, and the Chiefs are the polar opposite. Chiefs are healthy all year long, and then got hurt at the end of the season. And that's the way it goes. And I think I think the Bills are the best team in the AFC. By what margin? I mean, a half an inch. I mean, there's so many teams that are so good that you look at them and go, look, it's going to come down to are you right physically in January? If you are, you got a great shot, and if you're not, you're probably going home.
I'm with you there. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderam. And by the way, great nugget. I did not realize that the Bengals, out of all that money, only 75 of it was guaranteed. So that's not really a lot of money there. So that's really good nugget. I did not.
They don't put money in escrow. I talked to one agent a month ago. I wrote a piece based off Deshaun Watson's contract. I said, look, if you were an agent for Joe Burrow or for Justin, if you were an agent for Burrow or Herbert, which none of these 3 guys were that I spoke to, I said, what would you ask for in a negotiation after the season, assuming they just have the years you'd expect them to have? And each agent individually said $55 million a year, and a couple of them said fully guaranteed. And I talked to one agent who's a veteran agent who's been in the league for a long time, big name agent, who said, knowing the Bengals, I think they're going to have to take a bank loan out to pay Burrow, because when they have to put the money in escrow, when you sign a contract and the guaranteed money's got to go into escrow, he's like, they're not going to have that cash on hand. They might have to take a business loan out from a bank at a low interest rate, and that might be the way they have to pay him.
Ooh.
So, I mean, you're not talking about franchises here who just have billions and billions and billions. Keep in mind with both the Bengals and the Chargers, those are hand-me-down franchises. Those are inheritances. That's a big difference in what the Broncos just did with Walton buying in from Walmart. Okay, right. Jerry Jones was a tycoon when he bought the Cowboys. Mike Brown is not a tycoon. God knows he's rich, but Paul Brown wasn't crazy rich, right? I mean, Paul Brown started the Cleveland Browns.
You'd figure after all these years of not spending, you should have saved up a shitload of money. God,
but I mean, they're not.
That leads to money, bro. And they have a good fan base that still goes to those games, dude.
You would think, but I think sometimes people don't realize. And look, hell, until I covered the league, I didn't realize that the guaranteed money has to go in escrow. And these, like the Chargers, and I had the exact figure in my column from a few weeks ago. Their relocation fee was something like $450 million. Yeah. I mean, the Spanos family is one of the more cash poor ownership groups in the league anyway. And they don't even own the stadium they play in. Kroenke does. Like that's a problem when Justin Herbert goes, you know what? I'd like 275 fully guaranteed. Like, okay, well, we're having a lawsuit right now within the family, and we're paying the league to relocate. And SoFi, we're basically a renting tenant. It's a problem. That's a hell of a lot harder for them than
the problem is those are legacy owners.
Yes.
That have been in it for so long that they can't, like all the new owners that come in, they're all
crazy
like in baseball. You knew Loria was broke and the whole Montreal mess. And so then you end up giving him Miami, and you had to loan him $39 million in order for him to complete. Well, if you have to loan somebody the money, then they don't belong in your club. You know what I mean? Yeah. And baseball has done a poor job of that sometimes with some of their owners that they've brought in. Football has not. Football has brought in strong owners, but the problem is those guys there, we're talking about people that have been in it for decades now, and what are you going to do with them at this point? And they're just not a free spending team. And let me tell you, that's a great point you bring up, because they have. I mean, what are they going to do? They cannot allow Joe Burrow to walk out.
They have. I mean, hey, if you've noticed, it was in the news very quietly in the last week. They're selling the stadium naming rights in Cincinnati. It's no longer going to be Paul Brown Stadium. They need the money. I mean, they are looking under every couch cushion right now on earth to try to get this money. They know it's coming. And look, his father's name's on that stadium. Like, it's coming off the stadium because they need the money. And
well, you know what? They should do what I've said they should do here for years, because Joe Robbie, same thing, not a rich family,
right.
And he went out and built a stadium on his own.
Yep.
And because he did that, he went broke. And then the family ended up losing the team because there was a squabble and all that. It was ugly and all. And then Huizinga ended up picking it up. You know what I'm saying? And you see things like that happen. And it's just kind of a shame, man, that you have these kind of situations, and then the fans are the ones that kind of suffer from it because of the limitations that they have sometimes as a family. And look what ends up going on. And, and now obviously Dolphins are lucky because they've had some pretty good owners that have spent. They haven't gotten it right, but
they're willing to spend the money.
Bless Huizinga, dude. I mean, his baseball team won the World Series. His hockey team got to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And the one he loved the most, the Dolphins, he couldn't get it right. But it wasn't a lack of trying, because he brought Saban, he brought Parcells, he brought Jimmy. He tried, dude. He tried. And that's the thing with Paul Brown. Is he, does he have it to be able to? Okay, so if he has to give Joe Burrow that money, how does he hang on to the rest of because you know how it cripples every other team that's rich. How about a team that isn't rich?
That's going to be the fascinating question, is what happens with T. Higgins? What happens with Logan Wilson? What, obviously, I think Jesse Bates, we see what's happening there. Like, that is, right. And look, again, the bottom line is, in the NFL now, I mean, you know it as well as I do, in the 90s even, like not that long ago, you saw the franchise in the 90s, okay? That price tag was something with $1 million, not $1 billion. Yes. And it was a low million. Like, it was, I mean, look, when I say affordable, I'm not buying an NFL franchise in the 90s. But, like, by rich people say, like, you could, a couple $100 million, you buy a franchise.
Right.
Now, you're laying out $4+ billion. Like, whoever buys a team now is so rich, it's insane. Yep. And you don't have to worry about it. But these teams now, some of them, the Maras, the Rooneys, the Hunts, they've been able to amass fortunes. And part of that, and the Hunt family was well off well before they got into football. Yeah. But the Rooneys, they put,
and they were always a great football family.
Yes.
Remember, they started an entire league.
Yes,
so
right.
Lamar's man.
Even though the Bears are owned by the McCaskies, I mean, that's the Hatless family. Like, that family has gone on. Mike Brown, he's the son of Paul Brown. Paul Brown might be the most influential figure ever in NFL history. Really, probably. I don't know. It's arguable, but Paul Brown wasn't swimming in hundreds of millions of dollars. Nope. He just was not. They are certainly, by you and I, our standards, they're incredibly wealthy. But by NFL standards,
right.
They're sleeping in steerage. Like, let's just be real. They are. So it's going to be very interesting to follow how they go about. I mean, do they go to war with these quarterbacks trying to save $10? And they might. They very well might.
Yeah, we have Stephen Ross and Mickey Arison in town. I mean, are you kidding me, dude? Jorge Mas owns the soccer team. I mean, we've got some deep ass pocketed owners here. I actually was talking about this. We have the most competitive group of owners outside of the Marlins right now that we've ever had in our town, because years ago it was Huizinga owning all the teams, so that's different. But right now, I don't think we've ever had a better group of owners right now here in South Florida. We got for 4 out of the 5 teams, because Sherman still hasn't proven anything in baseball. But what are you going to do? All right, tell them about Stacking the Box, and so they can check you out also at Fansided.
Every Monday morning, Stacking the Box, 6 Eastern, column comes out, covers the whole league. Check it out. I'm on vacation for the next few weeks, but that column is going up every week. That doesn't take a vacation. And then Tuesdays at noon Eastern, 11 Central, Stacking the Box podcast, which also covers the whole league and is on YouTube as well. It streams. You can also hear it wherever you hear your podcast. You can download it at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, you name it. You can find it. And so for the next couple of weeks, that is it, as I am currently in New York, relaxing. And when I come back, I won't take a vacation day for about 10 months. So getting the time in while I can.
Where are you in New York?
I am about 90 miles north of Manhattan. I'm in the Catskill Mountains. So
nice. All right.
Going back to where I grew up.
In New York, sitting on the curb, drinking some coffee.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. Beautiful. All right, Matt. We will catch up next week, my brother. Appreciate you as always, man. You be good.
You too. Take care.
You got it. You are now stepping out of the huddle.
This has been The Huddle with NFL reporter Matt Verderam. RedRecover.com helps pros and everyday warriors heal on the go with their medical-grade, highly specialized devices designed for each area of the body. Go to RedRecover.com to learn more about red light with videos, blog posts, and over 40 years of medical research to treat pain, inflammation, and overall well-being.
All right. Thanks to Matt Verderam for joining us there as always. And at redrecover.com, I tell you all the time, whether it's my hat that I use every day for 15 minutes, red light therapy, there you go. And of course, redrecover.com, use our code Big O. You will get 10% off, not just for the hat, but any of the other products. And it is so good for pain relief. So if you have some chronic pain, some issues, some old injuries, bone on bone, all of those kind of things, you need some alleviation of that pain. You want to get some relief. You want to get that blood flow going in that area and make you feel a little better. Shoulders, back, neck, knees, ankles, elbows. They've got the pads for it. They've got the pads for the kids. They've got the pads for the dogs. It's all natural. There are no side effects. There's no medicine, no nothing. It is red light therapy. And if you want to find out more about it, go check out our video blogs and our blogs at redrecover.com. All right, check it out there. Even Hayden Hurst, former first-round pick, playing with the Cincinnati Bengals, he uses it to optimize his recovery and, of course, performance out there. So go to redrecover.com, use our code Big O, and you will get 10% off. Get some pain relief, man. Sleep better, live better, take it easy. Redrecover.com, 15 minutes a day will make a hell of a difference. I feel like we fin in a start 2-2 realistically. I don't know, man. We'll see. Maybe they're 4-0. Let's not put any limitations on anything. Let's just go enjoy it. All right. That's all. That's it. And let me tell you something. I want to talk about something here that it's kind of been a theme the last couple of days because of what's happened with the Panthers. It's been a theme because of the Miami Heat. And it's a theme because I'm looking at our beloved Miami Dolphins. And the word is alpha. And one of the things being at camp today, when you add a Tyreek Hill, you added an alpha. Not only is he a dog on the field, but he's a guy that in the locker room, on the street, in a press conference, is also going to sell your team. He's going to push your product. He's going to be positive about it. He's going to be a guy that he wants the pressure. He wants to lead. This is what an alpha is all about. And we talked about this a couple of days ago. Well, we talked about it on Saturday. After Friday night, what did I tell you? Right? Throughout the year, I told you the Panthers have two Robins in Barkov and Huberdeau. While they're fantastic players, they're not really alphas. This team desperately needs an alpha. And what did they do last Friday night? They made an amazing trade with Calgary and acquired Matthew Tkachuk. Why? Because they didn't have an alpha in the locker room. Now they do. Now they've got an alpha in the press conference, in the locker room, on the practice ice, and in a game. The guy that wants the puck, the guy that needs to score, the guy that wants to win the game, the guy that wants to stick it to Tampa now. That's an alpha. Tyreek Hill, that's an alpha. And then you know what I'm watching also? I'm watching Teron Armstead. And that's what this front office also did. They said, we need an injection of alphas inside this building. Because we had a coach there that, he kind of had a problem with authority. He wasn't that big on players that actually may have had an opinion or something like that. He wanted to keep everything the militant Belichick way. You know what I'm saying? And this guy, Mike McDaniel, doesn't have that ego. he will hire veteran coaches and he will bring in veteran players because he's trying to do what's best for the Miami Dolphins, not what might be convenient for him. And one of the things that the theme of this offseason, we need to find another alpha next to Jimmy Butler, correct? It ain't Bam. It ain't Tyler. Neither one has stepped up to say they're alphas, right? So they got to go trade for Durant. Or I don't know, are they going to go get Donovan Mitchell? Right? There's 2 alphas available. Can they get any of those 2? That's why you would want a guy like that, because you don't have another guy next to Jimmy Butler like that. The Florida Panthers, they had a hell of a team. They had a hell of a season. But when push came to shove, they weren't tough enough, and they didn't have the guy that gave them the edge. Because having the alpha gives you the edge. And you want the edge with your coaching staff. You want the edge with your front office. You want the edge with your ownership, right? You want people like Stephen Ross, like Viola and Sifu, like Mickey. You want people like Jorge Mas who are completely fanatically dedicated to winning. But you need all of those ingredients in order to have an edge. But the other thing, the theme of these off seasons this year has been the Heat need to find their edge by getting another alpha. The Dolphins are getting their edge because they went and added a couple more alphas, because it's a big-ass locker room. You need several alphas. And Tyreek Hill and Teron Armstead, that's what stood out to me. That they added some alphas. And the Panthers, they didn't have one in the locker room. Now they finally have one. It's incredibly important. Jazz Chisholm. I was reading an article today. They mentioned the 25 best players in Major League Baseball under 25. Jazz Chisholm's number 11. Sandy didn't make it. He's 26 years old. He obviously would be top 5 on that list, but he didn't make the list because he was 26 years old. I wasn't sure if he was older than 25, so I went and looked it up, and Sandy's 26. So I said, okay, you guys get a break, because I was ready to rip some people. I was going, Sandy's not in the top 25. Wait a minute. He must be a little older than 25. I didn't know exactly what his age was, but it's 26, just in case you're asking. But Jazz Chisholm is what you wanted out of an alpha. And when I walked out of Dolphin camp today, I said, not only did they sign a great player in Tyreek Hill, not only did they sign a great player in Teron Armstead, not only did they sign guys at positions that they needed badly, but they also signed 2 alphas. And that's a really important presence to give you an edge on the field, on the practice field, and in the locker room, media, you name it. You see those guys, you gravitate to people like that. And you can already sense it from their teammates, how they feel about guys like that. There's a level of respect with guys like that because they've been there and they've done it. And that there's no discussion. It's over right there. That's it. That's all you need to know. Teron Armstead has been there and done it. So listen to the man. Tyreek Hill's been there and done it. Listen to the man. I like that. 855-912-1056 if you want to get in on the Welt and Rayom text line. That's 855-912-1056 if you want to get in on the Welt and Rayom text line. You can also reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. Follow us there as always, ladies and gentlemen. That, my friends, is a 24-hour talk show. And don't forget to also, you can reach out to our friends if you need an alarm system. 1-800-ALARM-ME is Sloman's, the Sloman Shield. 1-800-ALARM-ME. What else do we have here that I wanted to talk about on the program? Also, Ian Rapoport will join us at the top of the hour. So we'll talk a little bit with Ian. If you have any questions about camp or anything else, you can send them in on the chat board there and on the YouTube chat board there. If you're there watching the show, and don't forget, if you've got a question while you're listening to the podcast, you can send it in on the Welton Rayom text line at 855-912-1056 or our email, bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Okay. Let's see what I have here. Upgrade your kicks before the season starts. I don't know what that means, sir. Roberto. Not sure what that means, but thank you. Big O, did you move to Vegas? No. Why would I? I don't get that one. Why would anybody say it? Do you follow me on social media and Twitter and all that kind of stuff? You would know I'm not in Vegas. I've been here. I've been back for a week and a half or something like that. Armstead looked jacked for an O-lineman. Yeah. Armstead also, I asked him about the offensive line and the struggles with the offensive line. For those of you that may not have seen the press conference, let me see. I can pull up that video right now for you all and play it for you on let's see, here we go on okay, on the Dolphins expecting the line to improve, and here we go. Wait a minute. Can't do that yet. Okay, now we shall do it. Let me share with you all here. Let's get that going. Here we go. There's Teron Armstead. Let me lower my volume and hear me asking Teron Armstead about the line this year.
Really impressive group. The line has struggled here for several years. You've been around these guys now for a couple of months. How can you assure Dolphin fans that they're finally going to be able to fix this offensive line?
Just watch the game. Just watch the game. You know, it all starts in practice. It all starts with us putting the work in. We will improve. That's no doubt about it. I have zero doubts about that. We'll be better in a lot of areas. And it'll never get to a place of perfection, but that's the goal. So we always try to be perfect. We're going to have bad plays, going to have mishaps. That's part of the game. But just trying to have that built-in response to, try to control and impose our will day in and day out.
How do you compartmentalize knowing that the balance of the offense is on the five guys up front? You don't get to run, you don't get to pass if you guys don't get to do your job.
Yeah, that's every day. That's every snap. We control the game. We control the success of the offense. So that's never changing. That's all 32 teams. We embrace that role and responsibility.
So there you go. All right, let me take that out. Smoke that one. That is Teron Armstead talking about the O-line that they definitely need to fix. I like Armstead, man. Really like Armstead. Hopefully, he can stay healthy because, he's had a little injury history. That's for sure. That's definitely. But this is a guy that you needed, man. And it's so good for the young tackles to have Armstead around too. Maybe they can pick up something and get prepared. You know what I'm saying? Emilio says Armstead will bring much needed confidence and vet leadership to a line that has lacking leadership and consistency forever. Karen says, Big O, in all seasons of covering the Fins, what are the few players everyone thought was going to be horrible during the offseason but ended up playing fantastic? That's a great question. Guys that we thought were going to suck, and then all of a sudden they blew up and had good years. Oh, maybe I don't think Myles Gaskin was really impressive in the preseason when he first got here, and then he became a bigger part. But I maybe that's not because that's a 7th round, rookie. How do you expect much from a 7th round rookie? So it's kind of normal. God, your question would be for somebody that we thought it wouldn't work and then it did. Man, that's a good one. There's got to be a couple of those that we thought they were going to be bad, and then all of a sudden they did well. I gotta think about that. I gotta think about that one. There has to be several players. There has to be a few, man, that we thought they were going to suck and they ended up becoming really good or productive. Man, I'll think about it. It's gotta. I mean, I got a lot of Dolphin, history in my head. I don't know how I can't come up with that. Suspect in mass shooting of July 4th parade in Highland Park, Illinois, was indicted by the grand jury of 117 counts, including 21 counts of first-degree murder. Damn. Fry his ass. Barkov's game is different for Matthews and Drastil. Doesn't mean he ain't a top. Oh, no, Barkov's a top player, dude. Barkov, I never said Barkov is not a top player. Barkov is a top player. He's just not an alpha. He's Zach Thomas. He's just not going to be getting in people's faces and motivating and talking stuff, and that's not who he is. He's a quiet leader. And there's nothing wrong with quiet leaders, but I do think you need a guy in the locker room that rattles some cages. And that's what you're going to get out of Kachuk. 5 games of Armstead is better than 17 of Jesse Davis. Can you argue it, Jose? I didn't like his question the other day. I thought it wasn't a good question at all, Jose, as you know. But that was good. That was funny. That was good. I like it. Don't forget, folks, to smash the heck out of that like button while you're watching, por favor. Okay? Paul Soliai, not bad. Paul Soliai was kind of like terrible early on, but he was a 5th-round pick, and then he kind of took off. Chad Pennington's pretty good because he was so injury-prone, and he lasted for a season until he broke down the year after. That's not bad. Earl Morrall was a guy that took a team to a Super Bowl. He was a backup quarterback and then helped the Dolphins get to the Super Bowl. So I'm not sure where that conversation fits at all with Earl Morrall. Matt Moore, I don't know if there were any expectations for Matt Moore because he was just a backup quarterback. But damn, Karen, you got a good question in that I'm trying to. There's got to be somebody that we thought was going to be terrible and they ended up working out. I just can't figure it out right. Ooh. How about Eric Rowe? Eric Rowe was a mediocre corner. Eric Rowe was incredibly inconsistent as a corner. And they got him here and they specialized him into covering tight ends. And he became a really good player, and that was his niche. So when they first signed Eric Rowe, I was like, big deal. That guy's inconsistent as hell. It's been a bad draft pick, unfortunately. And by the way, I was one of the ones that liked Eric Rowe coming out of college. So, just to be fair, you got to say when you're right and you got to say when you're wrong, man. And Eric Rowe did not turn out to be a consistent corner. So when he got here, he wasn't impressive. And yet, that when they specialized him, he excelled and played well. Eric Rowe might be one. Lamar Smith. I mean, Lamar Smith, I didn't look at that as a terrible player. I mean, because I covered it, I watched it right from the get-go, and they needed a running game. No, I don't think I would label Lamar Smith as a guy we all looked like a terrible back. It was more about what it's been for years, the line, not the running backs. Any wide receivers that are looking good today besides the obvious? I can't tell you that I saw Ezukama do anything special or Lynn Bowden Jr. or anything like that. Waddle, Tyreek. Anybody else? Let me see on my notes here. Yeah, no. Out of those guys, I can't say anybody else really stood out overall. It's so early, man, and there's no pads going on. But the good thing is Tua was sharp. I like that. Jay Fiedler was a pleasant surprise. Yeah, but right, but he doesn't fall under that category of we thought we were going to be terrible, and Jay Fiedler was coming off a game where he torched the Dolphins and torched Marino and the Dolphins, and then they signed him, and he did a solid job for the Dolphins. I mean, hey man, you're not going to get me to bash Fiedler, dude. Sorry, you're not going to ever get me to bash Fiedler. I know he's not a franchise quarterback. Okay, great. I'll give you that. But he did a solid job for the Dolphins. I have nothing but admiration for the way he played, the toughness he showed. He had leadership. He just the Lord did not bless him with monster ability, but he was really good person, tough son of a bitch. Played with all kinds of injuries. Odd injuries that quarterbacks that normally may not play with. You'll never get me to bash Fiedler. Sorry. Disappoint you, I will have to do in a Yoda fashion. Kalen Balaj. Oh, sorry, I started doing crack today. Randy McMichael was a terrific pick in the 4th round from Georgia, and I don't think anybody started with he's going to suck. No, he was a pleasant ad right from the get-go. He was awesome. Bobby Humphrey just got shot. I don't think he did anything. Yeah, Fiedler made it to the playoffs and make it to the second round. Yeah, usually he would make a couple times to the second round. He's the last Finns QB that won a playoff game. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm with you. Mostert claims to be as fast as any and race. Yes, Squeeze. I'm the one that answered the question. I mean, asked the question of Mostert about the race. So he said, I asked him about it. I said, so when you're 100%, are you going to race Tyreek? And he told us, he said, once I get to 100, yeah, well, let's, we gotta, put out there who is the fastest or whatever, squash the challenge. In other words, he felt confident that he could beat Tyreek. So we'll see. We'll see. It would be fun if they did race. What do I think of Farrell Edmonds? Farrell Edmonds was an inconsistent, incredibly talented tight end. Okay? His hands were not good enough. That was Farrell Edmonds' problem. His hands were mediocre. If Farrell Edmonds would have had good hands, he would have been an all-pro tight end every year. He ran like a deer, dude. If there's one thing that I remember about Farrell Edmonds, whenever he did catch the ball and he was able to hang on to it, and if he was out in the open field, you weren't catching him. He was a fast, long strider. But again, hands suck. And that's what stopped Farrell Edmonds from having a, Pro Bowl-like career, all-pro career, or Hall of Fame career, or whatever. That's what stopped him. His hands were mediocre as hell. You give that man, Mike Gesicki's hands, and he's in the Ring of Honor. He was a freak, dude. Absolute freak. Big O, do you think Barkov is a top 5 player in the league? Of course he is. And if not top 10, whatever, man. But right there. Dougie Fresh, Van Ginkel. Now, I wouldn't put him in that category, but I wanted to say something about Van Ginkel. And I'm a huge Andrew Van Ginkel fan. And he's been in the system for a couple of years. Had some really good moments, had some up and downs, which last year I thought was a little bit of a down year compared to the year before. I think he's headed for a monster year. These are the kind of guys that get all this experience and they kind of build it up inside that memory bank, and they get better and better and better. And on top of all of that, he has something that you cannot teach. There's a knack for finding the football. He has it. And that's, again, you can't teach it. X has it. Javon Holland has it. Certain guys just, they show you it. And they have an instinct. They have a sense for what's happening on the field and where they should be. And to deflect the pass, to intercept it, to make a play, whatever it is, you cannot explain it. But he has it. So for me, this is one of those guys in Andrew Van Ginkel that he's been able to amass some real good experience the last couple of years. I think he's going to put it together and have one hell of a year this year. I really do. Don't forget, folks, to smash the hell out of the like button. If you want to get in on the Welton Rayom text line, that's 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056. And on the Welton Rayom text line, you can also call them if you need a law firm that can handle your bankruptcy claims, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Listen, I'm calling them. I'm using them. I would never tell you to go use something that I wouldn't do either. And they've done a phenomenal job in our case. They can do the same thing for you. They're out to protect the client. So make sure you give them a ring. Oh, my light went out there. 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Those are the offices for Welt and Rayom. They are in Hollywood, and they're there to serve you. Okay? Bernie Parmalee from UPS to taking handoffs from Marino. Yep, but he doesn't fall in that question that she asked, that Karen asked. I hope McDaniel's the real deal. If he can talk the talk, then players will love to play for him. Amen. Which GM is harder to make a trade with, Sean Marks or Vladimir Putin? Apparently I think they were making an offer for Brittany Griner. I think the thing is they want that big scumbag that we have, but they have I believe it's 4 or 5 Americans now, because it's not just Brittany. There are other Americans that have been there longer than her. And, same bullshit. They didn't really do anything, and they're being held. And I think what they're trying to do is make a trade for the one big scumbag we have here for all of our Americans. We'll see. The Brittany Griner situation is tough, man. It's tough. Anybody see those videos in the New York City subway? They had strippers and a slip and slide. They were twerking. They were giving lap dances. I want to know what subway line that is and what train, and why wasn't I invited? I mean, that's just wrong on every level. I mean, those are the kind of subway rides I want to be a part of. I saw that and I was just jealous. Any shot that happens on the Metro fail. Do we have people twerking and slip and slides and doing lap dances on Metro fails? I mean, if they do, tell me, what station should I jump on and, enjoy? I saw that and I was like, yo, what up with me? I'm here. I want to have some fun. Help a brother out here. No, they can't get me in. Nobody told me anything about stripping subways. Metro Rail foam party. See, that's what I'm talking about. We should all meet somewhere in some deck in Metro. Everybody bring foam, and then we all walk in and then just let it out. Somebody brings, some kind of music or something like that. I like that. I think that will definitely work if we can get that done. I'm with you there. All right. 855-912-1056 if you want to get in on the Welt and Rayom text line. That's 855-912-1056 if you want to get in on the Welt and Rayom text line. So Julio Jones signs a 1-year deal with the Buccaneers. I thought that was hilarious. I mean, look, man. They've got Evans, they've got Godwin, they've got Russell Gage, and Brashard, I only run one route Perriman. He's definitely not his dad. And Julio Jones, I don't know if people realize, last year he played 10 games, 434 yards, and 1 touchdown. In 2020, he played 9 games and 771 yards and 3 touchdowns. The guy has 4 touchdowns in 2 years. He has 1,100 yards, almost actually 1,200 yards. It's not bad in 2 years, but it's not Julio Jones. And I love how people were reacting like, oh, wow, they got Julio Jones. He's just a name at this point. He's a complimentary receiver. He's no longer Julio Jones. That's why he's signing a 1-year deal. I just wanted to go back and look at the stats because I was like, what's the big deal? It's not like I've seen anything from Julio Jones in a few years. Yeah, 3 years ago, that was his final good year, but he's a sack of injuries. He's a Hall of Fame player, first ballot. I get all of that, but that body's already worn down and broken down. It's a nice insurance policy, I guess, if Chris Godwin can't come back fully from his knee injury. Maybe you'll use a little bit more of it. And I get that, but the Julio Jones, signing is nice, but let's not go overboard, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? Let's pump the brakes a little bit here. All right, let's take a quick break. Let's get ready for hour number 3 of the program. Ian Rapoport should be joining us right when we come back, right here on the Big O Radio Show.
The Big O Radio Show is looking for partners to join our growing platform. If your business is ready to reach an audience that starts in Florida, crosses the nation while expanding internationally, this is the program that provides that vehicle. The Big O Radio Show is ready to broadcast live anywhere in the world to represent your event or product. To reach out by phone, 786-754-4664. That's 786-754-4664. Or email bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Help us grow as we provide the content and personal connection corporate entities will never achieve.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Evolve your training and step into the new era of muscle recovery. Red Recover.
Why is it that you get locked out in the worst moments of your life?
Where are my car keys? Man, I can't find my house keys.
In those frustrating moments, you need a locksmith you can count on. A. Lenny Locksmiths in South Florida, from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, A. Lenny locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Lockouts or lock changes for home or business. Car key replacements and programming all model cars. 24-hour service. Call them at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at alennylocksmith.com.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Number 3, and of course, we will be tomorrow at Hialeah Park, broadcasting live in the second floor poker room, starting off at 10 a.m. The next 2 days, we'll be back to our regular times because we're at Hialeah Park on Thursday and we're at Acura Pembroke Pines on Friday. So that is the normal. And then Saturday, actually, Sean and myself will go out to a training camp. So we'll hopefully track some of you all down. And if you see us, you see Sean, you see myself, tell us what's up. We would love to meet you as always. Thank you all. And by the way, our show is proudly brought to you by A. Lenny Locksmith. We're talking about a locksmith service that is 24 hours a day, ready for you anytime in South Florida, from Miami all the way up to Port St. Lucie, baby. Yes. So if you get locked out of your home, you call A. Lenny Locksmith. You get locked out of your car, you call A. Lenny Locksmith. They will get you into your car. If you lose your keys, they will create new keys for you. And if you got to get those keys programmed for your car, they can do that too. They do it all. And they do it 24 hours a day. And by the way, our friends in Tampa and Orlando, you can also get service there. We have A. Lenny Locksmith there. And in Phoenix, Arizona. All right. So if you want to reach out to our great people at A. Lenny Locksmith, 561-284-5090. That's 561-284-5090 for alennylocksmith.com. All right. We just broke the record for the most skinny dippers here on the Treasure Coast. I wasn't involved. Nice. There you go. I haven't gone skinny dipping since I was like a teenager. All right. It was teenager, Hialeah High, back in the day. And it was the Amelia Earhart Park. And we went there on a late Sunday, early Sunday evening almost. Nobody was around. So we had some fun. So there you go. We thought we could get away. She was a little nervous about it, right? But we got away with it. It was fun. Not that we would ever do that. I mean, not at this age, obviously not. But if I was young again during this time, I probably would not. It'd be crazy. All right, let's take our look around the NFL with Ian Rapoport. It's our redrecover.com look around the NFL.
Football fans, it's time to take a look around the NFL. It's the redrecover.com look around the NFL with Ian Rapoport. RedRecover.com helps pros and everyday warriors heal on the go with our medical-grade, highly specialized devices designed for each area of the body. Go to RedRecover.com to learn more about red light with videos, blog posts, and over 40 years of medical research to treat pain, inflammation, and overall well-being. Now, let's find out the latest in the NFL with one of the best reporters in the business, Ian Rapoport.
It works for Hayden Hurst, first round pick, plays for the Cincinnati Bengals. It will work for you. It works for me. It works for my wife. She has some bad knees. So if you need the right wrap for your knees, your elbows, your ankles, neck, back, redrecover.com. All natural and no side effects. Mr. Rapoport, thank you for adjusting your schedule for us. I appreciate
No problem.
you. How you doing, my man? You doing good?
I'm all right. You know, it's training camp, so it's always like not just a grind, but just a hectic race of craziness. So I am from a rental car parking lot right now.
Nice. Okay. What camp are you hitting today?
Today I was at the Philadelphia Eagles. Yesterday I was at the Jets. And tomorrow I'm going to the Cleveland Browns. So that's it's going to be a full week, a full 3 weeks.
Any truth to the rumor that were hundreds of MILFs outside of the practice for the Jets?
I was not there during a practice day. I was actually there on reporting day. So I cannot comment on that. I did see Zach Wilson's social media, which I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, I thought he handled it pretty well, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, he has. He definitely has handled this whole thing. Hey, man, you gotta be a different cat to play in New York. And I've always said that my entire life. You might be able to play in Miami. You might be able to play in Kansas City. And no shot to anybody in Kansas City or Miami or Utah or hell, Houston. But when you play in New York, brother, it is a whole different ball game. And I don't care what sport it is. You better be prepared. It's just a different monster there. You've got to be wired different. It's almost like you got to draft a little differently if you're playing in New York or if you're playing for the Cowboys or if you're playing for the Lakers. You know, some of these teams that traditionally carry drama with you, you got to be wired a little different. And hell, you've been on the Cowboy beat also, you know.
Yeah, and you know it's funny because if you're you're quarterback of the Cowboys, you're Dak Prescott. There's a lot of things that you have to deal with that you probably didn't anticipate. You know, including like the gossip magazines will figure out if you have a girlfriend or not. Every time you're out at a club, people will mention it. If your girlfriend takes to social media and says some things like Zach Wilson did, like it's going to get out like this. And I guess at some point you kind of become numb to it, which is really a good reaction. But there is a lot that goes into being a star, and not all of it, honestly, is a lot of fun. But then you get the rewards as well.
Right, exactly. It's great if you watch Jeter's documentary that he did, and he talks a lot about that kind of stuff. And today, it's interesting. I was at Dolphins camp today. That's why we adjusted the show, and I'm doing it in the afternoon instead. And Tua was asked about people that question his talent and all this kind of stuff. And he basically said, well, I don't listen to that. I don't know what they're saying. That's probably done for clickbait. If you're not in my circle, then I don't hear you. And if I don't hear you, it doesn't matter to me. And I thought that was a fabulous answer in a way of phrasing it. And one of the things I give Tua a lot of credit, he acts already like a 12-year veteran. I mean, you're not going to bait that dude into anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I was at Eagles today, and Jalen Hurts is there, and you get the same sort of vibe where it's like, and maybe it's an Alabama thing, but you get the same sort of vibe where they're like, hey man, you say whatever, I'm kind of not hearing it, and even if I do, I don't really care about it. So like, all right, and Tua's been through a lot. I mean, the Deshaun Watson rumors were very loud. We all heard it. He definitely heard it, and it didn't seem like it really affected him, which is certainly a fascinating part of this.
By the way, Baker Mayfield, Tua Tagovailoa, who handled it better? You know what I mean? And Baker only had to deal with it for a very short time. That right after the season, all of a sudden the rumors come in, and then he got pissed off that they tried to make the trade, and then it died out, and then it came back. For Tua, dude, from the second he's gotten here, he's been hearing about Watson for a year almost, and he had to hear it all day, and he had to hear it throughout the regular season and all that. To me, that's another thing why I like this kid, and another thing why I'm actually convinced he will be successful, because when you're mentally this tough and it doesn't break you down, And the fact that you played behind a terrible line for 2 years, and last year you were the least sacked quarterback behind the worst offensive line. That tells me, dude, that up here, you've got it all, brother. Because
Yeah,
as you
and
know,
I
Ian,
don't think there's been any, it's like I don't know if there's been a question about that, but look, I mean, whatever happens with Tua, wherever he goes from here, his talent will either carry him or not. He'll either be good enough or he won't, and that's okay because the team is really good, and we'll find out. But I don't think whatever happens, I don't think he'll be affected by anything but what happens on the field, which means you'll get a full and real analysis evaluation as you should. And I think that is really important.
I'm with you there. I was also looking at it, and it's kind of a theme down here in South Florida. The Heat right now, they finished their season. I don't know how much you follow it, but Jimmy Butler needs another alpha next to him. They don't have one. Bam isn't, Tyler isn't. I don't know how much hockey you follow, but the Panthers didn't have an alpha in their locker room, and they just traded for Matthew Tkachuk from Calgary, who's a freaking stud. You know what I'm saying? And I look at the Dolphins, and when I look at Tyreek Hill and Teron Armstead, looking at those guys, I think Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer, not only did they add two terrific players, but I think what they added were also two alphas in that locker room, and how important it is to have those kind of guys. The quiet leaders are important. There's no doubt. But you kind of need those guys that can rattle some cages, right, Ian?
Yeah, and right now everything's great. Training camp's easy. I mean, it's not easy, but it's easy compared to the regular season. And so do you need a Teron Armstead to be a loud locker room voice? You probably don't. But things are going to happen, and players are going to be hurt, and they're not going to play well, and they're going to screw up and lose. And those guys are so important, who can really speak to the locker room and kind of like talk about setting the culture, like guys like Teron Armstead really do. He's been injured a bunch. He's played through a lot. He knows kind of how to do it. He is kind of an elder statesman. Like, these alphas are really important. And so it's not just about like adding like big flashy Tyreek Hill. It's not just about that. It's about things are going to go bad and who can kind of help keep things calm when they do.
Right. When things are at its worst, that's when you need your confidence. That's when you need the foundation to kind of, show up. And that's when those kind of guys are at their most important part of the season, because everybody can handle success. It's handling adversity in life. That's what really shows our true colors and how we're able to overcome those kind of things. And that's for anything, by the way, not just football.
Yeah, and I agree, and that's why, I was going through it today on the air. We're talking about who's going to be the best team in the NFC East, and you look at the rosters and the quarterbacks, and you kind of break it all down, and it's like, well, okay, who's going to be healthy? That will be part of it, but some of it is like, how does the character of the locker room dictate which way the team goes? That's really a lot of it. Like, do you have some veteran in the locker room who's making a lot of money, who's not playing as much as he wants, and does he take things in the wrong direction? Do you have a leader who, when you've lost 2 in a row, goes like, all right, we're going to start practicing better? It's like, these are and this is why coaching is important. Like, whatever happens with Mike McDaniel, his, role, his tenure as Dolphins coach is not going to be decided by how many, great run plays he can draw. It's going to be, how does he keep this locker room together when things are bad? That's going to be most of it.
By the way, I was Matt Verderam also joins us here weekly, and he's a big Kansas City guy. That was his team, and so obviously they lost Tyreek. And I was talking to him about this. And while obviously Kelsey's a monster, but Tyreek never played with another wide receiver opposite of him at the level of Waddle. And so now Tyreek's going to have a Gesicki, who I know I know he's not Kelsey, but he's a pretty damn good tight end overall. And then to have Waddle on the other side.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm really intrigued on how Waddle's going to help Tyreek and Tyreek's going to help Waddle, and maybe how Gesicki is going to benefit from both of them. You know what I'm saying? Because you're probably not doubling Gesicki. You're probably Gesicki's the third guy you double on this team, put it that way. It's going to be Tyreek 1, then Waddle 2, and then Gesicki. So not how the receivers will feed off of each other, and how Gesicki could obviously feed off of those two guys.
Right. And, on one hand, it's like, well, there's only one football to go around, and how are you going to spread it out? And that's, it's like, that's an issue as far as how you're going to divvy up the catches. On the other hand, the defense is having the same thoughts. Is we only have so many guys. How are we going to divide it up? And you really don't know. And, I think for Tyreek, he's played in some great offenses. But this will be interesting because there's going to be times and he'll be like, I'm getting singled covered plenty. Like, what's happening? Or it'll be Gesicki, or it'll be Watt, or somebody where only get one defender. And it's like, that's a huge benefit. How well do the Dolphins take advantage of that? That's really going to be how explosive they are.
Yeah, and that'll be up to Tua to understand, okay, where's the single coverage? Let me take advantage of that. All right, two things before I let you go. The flow thing. Any update on that? Because it's kind of been under the radar, and I know that the NFL is trying to keep it in arbitration and all that stuff. What the hell is going on with that thing?
Yeah, that's basically what's going on there in a discussion, debate now, sort of a contesting, like where it's going to be seen, where it's going to be heard. Is it going to be a private, or is it going to be public, essentially? That's kind of the update there. These things, it was a big splash when it happened, but it's going to be a long time before it actually gets decided, if it actually gets decided, rather than sort of settled or something.
Yeah, I almost feel like the NFL wants to drag it out because then it kind of dies out too at the same time, and people lose any kind of interest. All right, Jimmy G, brother. He's been, they've allowed him to seek a trade and all that kind of stuff. What do we hear? Everybody keeps mentioning Seattle, but San Francisco and Seattle working together, that's hard to believe. So does Jimmy G get freed? Does he get traded? Does he eventually get cut? Are they going to allow the shadow of Jimmy G hanging over the youngster? How are they going to handle all of this?
Well, I think they handled it really well yesterday when they basically came out and said, like, Jimmy G is not on the team anymore. He is, but he's not. He's not going to be their quarterback. They're moving forward with Trey Lance. He is their quarterback. This is his team. And then it's like, basically, how does Jimmy Garoppolo end up leaving? Does he get cut, which he'll get to pick his destination, but probably won't make as much money? Does he get traded? He would make $20 million, but then it's like, where, right? Who actually is going to trade for him? Or does he just wait for a quarterback injury? Do the 49ers wait for a quarterback injury and say that's our best chance to actually move him? So we know he's not going to be there, and it does not seem like his presence affects Trey Lance at all because he's not essentially on the team. But the actual transaction, does he get cut or what? That's what's going to be fascinating.
We'll see. All right, what else you working on this week? So folks can check you out there on Twitter at Rap Sheet and, of course, the NFL Network.
Yeah, I will be going from training camp to training camp. Hopefully I'll be able to do some things from each of the places I'll be at, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm on planes and in rental cars and just driving around for the next 3 weeks, so it's always exciting. When
you coming to us? You coming down to Miami Gardens?
I will be there for the but I will see the Dolphins at the joint practice against the Bucs. So one of those days, I think August 9th.
Right, exactly. Okay, so, well that's even actually those are my favorite practices to watch. Those are better than games, actually. Okay.
Yeah,
I'd rather spend a day watching those practices than watch a preseason game any day of the week and twice on Sundays. Those practices.
I would think most coaches would agree with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no doubt. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Rap Sheet. Ian, as always, we will catch up next week, my friend. Safe in your travels, right, man?
Thanks, man. Take care.
You got it. There you go. That is your look around the NFL.
You've been listening to the RedRecover.com Look Around the NFL with Ian Rapoport from the NFL Network. RedRecover.com's wraps and pads are designed to deliver maximum benefits with each treatment anywhere you go. Go to RedRecover.com to learn more about red light with videos, blog posts, and over 40 years of medical research to treat pain, inflammation, and overall well-being. Use code BIG-O for 10% off. The RedRecover.com Look Around the NFL with Ian Rapoport is mastered by executive producer Sean Stanley.
The legend that is Sean Stanley. By the way, Bitcoin has soared up close to $23,000 after the Feds went up 75 points. I think people were waiting because if it was 100 or $1.25 or 125 points, that is, then that would have scared some people and might have gone the other way. The market is as green as it gets. Ethereum is up 14.5%. Bitcoin is up 8%. I'm loving this. The Decentraland's up 8. Cody's up 8. Gala's up almost 7. Immutable X is up almost 8. Illuvium's up 13. Chainlink's up almost 8. ApeCoin's up 17. Cardano's up 9. Mina's up 11. Avalanche is up near 14. Cadena, is up near 7. Polygon is up 15.66%. Polkadot, 8.4%. VeChain up 6.5%. Algorand up 5%. Man, the market is beautiful. I don't know if it's going to hold up, but this is big today. This is big. And if the earnings start coming in, I've been working football and all that and doing this. So I haven't really gone into the economic side of all of this. I'll probably do some of it tonight. I don't know once we get the earnings reports also from some of these corporations, and if it's good, markets are going to start climbing. Orlando, should the Marlins buy or sell? Hey, Green Lion, that's awesome, dude. I love that. That's fantastic. Pablo Lopez yesterday went 7 innings, 2 hits, 11 Ks. He's got a 3.03 ERA. And guess what came out of that? They could be moving Pablo Lopez. They're not buyers. They're sellers. They're not an organization that's committed to winning. If you're going to trade Pablo Lopez, who I think is a really good number 3, number 4 starter on a rotation. So let's see. You got an ace in Sandy. So now you've got a Pablo who is your number 2, but maybe, in a perfect world, if you can develop a better pitcher, he's your 3 or 4, really. Okay, so you're kind of developing a nice rotation here. Why would you want to trade Pablo? Oh, more future? It's a problem, dude. It's just it's a vicious cycle. I want to root for Bruce Sherman. I want them to have success, but dude, you got to do it on your own. You got to help us. The Panthers only show commitment. That's all they do. That's why I tell you, you got to support the Panthers, man. I hated that they went on the second round because people will then get away from supporting them, and it sucks when they deserve all the support in the world because they spend and they're trying hard as hell to win, man. And they're entrenching themselves in the community. I mean, what Viola and Sifu have done is amazing. But yet, on the baseball side, we don't get the same thing, man. We just never do. It's a joke. And now, I hear Pablo on the market possibly. You'll never get anywhere like this. You'll never get the trust of the public. And whether you like it or not, you need to go look at the Panthers business model. Okay? They have committed. They committed to their players, Ekblad and Huberto and Barkov and a couple of others. They've traded them away, but over the years, but they committed to guys for 5, 7, 8 years. And now you're going to, at least 2 of these guys in Barkov and Ekblad are going to have long ass careers here. And now you're going to have kids that grew up with Barkov and then they go and trade for an alpha. And you're the Marlins and all you do is trade away your alphas. Miguel Cabrera is going to go to the Hall of Fame. He's supposed to be a Hall of Famer in a Marlins uniform. Edgar Renteria is not supposed to play anywhere else. These kind of guys, Christian Yelich, all the different dudes that you've developed over the years, you should have them finish their careers here. And it just never happens. I mean, think about this. At one point, Sandy Alcantara is going to say, when he's come, not now, because he's getting paid, so for a couple more years, but when he's getting closer to free agency, he's going to look around and say, well, these guys never commit. And he's going to look around. He's going to tell them, yeah, nah, I'm doing Juan Soto on your ass. No, dude, you're going to just pay me and nobody else? Yeah, I'm not wasting my career here with a franchise that is not willing to help me. Bruce Sherman hasn't earned anyone's trust here, but more than anyone else, Bruce, you got a guy named Sandy Alcantara there. You may want to earn his trust. Okay? Yeah, that contract you gave him is nice for now because you have him controlled. But when that contract's up, there's no more control. And if I'm Sandy, I'm holding your feet to the fire like, okay, if you don't show me commitment in the next couple of years, I'm out of here. And so then you'll trade him, and it's the same shit over and over and over and over again. Last night you watched Pablo's performance, and you're like, this is a good pitcher, man. It's a good player for the Marlins. And then this is what you hear. Until you get a real owner that's really committed to build a franchise, to build a fan base, to build trust, the Marlins will never get out of this thing. Tough when there is no cap in baseball. Actually, there is. It's called the luxury tax threshold. So it is kind of a cap, but you can still win. They don't spend ever enough to win. That's their problem. You don't have to go over 200 million, but you're going to have to go in the mid 100s. You have to. If you can't do that, then you shouldn't be an owner in baseball. That's all. And if you make a commitment, you will get them to commit. Major League Baseball doesn't have one. Right. Yeah, I said that. Luxury tax. Yeah, I already talked about that. I heard the Marlins are. I didn't see the one of Jazz. But if you trade Jazz, you might as well sell the team. That's all. If you trade Jazz or Sandy, just trade it. Just sell the team, dude. Sell the team. Get the hell out of the business. You're not into winning. You have no commitment to winning. Hell, trading Pablo shows me, you've only been here a few years. You got rid of the guys when you got here, right? You got rid of the salaries. So now that you're developing guys that you may have to pay, now you're going to trade them away. Same old shit. How did it feel being around all of your old buds today? No, it was good. It was good. It was fun. Talking to Goldie and Joe, Bo, all my guys, Omar. It was great to see Joe Schad. That was fantastic. Barry, Oyefusi, Marcel, Travis Winfield. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It was cool. It was fun. It's fun to see all those guys. And Ruthie Polinsky and the ladies too. Ruthie was out there. She does a terrific job. I told her that I love the combination of her and Haley because I think Haley is a pro. I love her as a broadcaster. I think she does an excellent job, dude. Great delivery. So there you go. They added a really talented a broadcaster there with Ruthie. That's really good. Nice combination. It's like is it Channel 10? I'm a big fan of Syra Anwar. She's a really good reporter when she does, whether it's reports or whether she does the lead newscast and all that. Really good delivery, clean. She has when she's live, she has all the information. She's not stumbling. I always admire the people that can do their job and do it at a really high level and they sound good. Give Haley a lot of credit. She sounds good, man. Does a good job. Jeter jettisoned for a reason. I think Jeter left because he was like, okay, well, we built the minors. Now let's go. Let's spend. Yeah. My pockets, there's nothing in there. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the impression you get. That Jeter was, all right, yeah, we got to rebuild the foundation. Okay, we did it. Now let's go spend. And what? You don't want to spend? Okay, I'm out of here. Yeah, of course. And listen, at least Jeter was patient at the beginning and he was all in on it. Like, hey, listen, we got to show some patience. And you did. You have loaded the minor leagues up. You've got a ton of pitchers, which is so smart on their part that they've drafted a boatload of pitchers because it's a lot easier to trade pitchers and you can get bats in return because they have done a piss poor job of drafting bats, right? They suck. They haven't been able to really draft enough bats there. So they need some of that. But you've got to be able to keep some of these guys. Oh, are you going to start doing shows with Dougie again? Yes, I'm sure we will during the season. Yes. Marlins are a farm team for the rest of the league. Sad. Exactly. Big O needs to bring in Joe Frisaro, who needs a break. Joe Frisaro. Joe's a baseball guy. I love Joe. I've known Joe for, 25 years, 30 years. I've known Joe Frisaro. Good dude, by the way. Good dude. The only thing that's wrong with Joe Frisaro, there's one thing that's really, really bad with Joe Frisaro. Just to let you in on the nastiness of Joe Frisaro, okay? He's a Crimson Tide fan. Tell you. Whew. That's where Joe messes it all up, I tell you. Yeah, outside of that, he's a beautiful human being. But that one thing, God bless. Man, terrible. Oh, Lordy, what else do we have? Oh, I see the Russians are going to quit the space station in a year or two, huh? They're that broke. Nice job. I can see the Russians building their own space station that just like comes apart. These are the guys that don't have any GPSs in their tanks. Hey, did you get the Garmin from Amazon? Great. Put it on that tank over there. Can't wait to see the Russians build a space station. That's going to be hilarious. What a clown-ass country that is, and what a clown-ass government that is. Holy shit. Putin. A tyrant and a clown. But a scary titan because he's a clown. So, those are the dangerous ones. Not very smart, but, what are you going to do? All right, 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056 if you want to get in on the Welt and Rayom text line. Congratulations to Mario Cristobal and the Hurricanes. They got another recruit, Malik Bryant, a 4-star Orlando linebacker. He chose Miami over Alabama, Clemson, Florida, and Georgia. All right. Yes. Wow. Alabama, Clemson, Florida, and Georgia wanted this guy, and Miami got him. He's the number 57 recruit in the 247 Sports 2023 recruiting class. He's 6'2", 235 already. Kid is 6'2", already 235. And I laugh and smile at all of this because it's awesome to see. It's a trip to see that they're getting the 4 and 5 stars to commit all the time. Excuse me. And it's nice to see that they're not beating out Tulane and Rice and Army and Virginia for a player. They're beating out Clemson and Ohio State, and they're beating out Alabama. They're beating out the big dogs that get all these kind of players normally. The players that Miami used to get years ago. And listen, I get that we can't get too excited because they're a year away from actually really coming here. And they're probably another year away from actually staying here. So that's 2 years from now. Because first they got to get here after they commit, which committing now really means nothing until you actually sign next year your letter of intent and then you're coming. And that's stage 2. But then the official stage is a year later after you find out that you might not be playing, you might be redshirt, you might be limited, and you're not going to complain and bitch and leave right away. So that's the thing. These kids might commit now, but I don't know what happens a year from now. And if Mario Cristobal and the Canes do not have a good season, they will lose some of these recruits. If they have a great season, they will gain more recruits. They will have more of them wanting to come here, and you will be forced to go look at some of your guys that you don't want and say, hey, how you doing, young man? You've been doing good, right? Yeah, it's great. But I want you to know you're not going to be playing much in the future. So if there's a way you can go somewhere else, you're probably better off because you're probably going to have a great seat watching the rest of the team next year. And that's how you'll open up some other spots. I love what I'm seeing. I love what Crystal Ball's doing, but I'm not going to be naive to think that that's the finality of it all, because these kids change their minds like you and I change underwears. It's just the way it is. Mario has brought back the State of the U. It looks like it, that's for sure. Alice in Chains in West Palm Beach Amphitheater, folks. Damn right. We'll be there. Florida Gators are freaking out on the players. Mario Cristobal has landed. Yes. And yes, Andy, Tua does look healthy. He looks really, really good. Braden says, any camp updates? How's Tua? Dude, you know how much we've talked about camp? You're coming in at the end of the third hour. So you're going to have to rewind, my brother. There is a ton of Dolphins talk in the first couple of hours there. Okay? You know how it is on this show. If you guys know, we're digital. We don't repeat. That's for lazy radio to repeat segments and talk about the same subject for 2 hours because their audience is changing every 10 minutes. We don't do that. We speak our piece, we move on, and then we podcast it. And that's where you can, or you can watch the segment there on YouTube. All right? But that's how we roll here on the show. All right? All right. What else do we have? I know there was something else that I wanted to talk about on the show. Yeah, we'll leave it for tomorrow is what we'll do. We got a loaded show for you tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be at Hialeah Park. Okay? So check it out. Come on out to Hialeah Park. Have some fun with us. Friday we'll be at Craig Zinn's Acura Pembroke Pines. All right? DMB Entertainment says, Big O, my dad and I will be coming down to Miami for the Dolphins Steelers Sunday night football game that weekend and wanted to know where you're going to be doing your shows at all weekend so we can catch you for a bit. Well, probably that Friday I'll be at the Acura dealership, and Sunday we'll be at Sports Grill in Doral. I think that's where we're going. So there you go. We thank Sean Stanley mastering this program. We thank Matt Verderam and Ian Rapoport. Jordan Schultz will be joining us tomorrow, and so will Craig Mish because we adjusted to the afternoon. They could not adjust with us. They will be joining us tomorrow on the show. So if you missed those segments, they will return tomorrow on the show. We are loaded tomorrow. We got a bunch of guests tomorrow, man. All right, so we will see you tomorrow. Thank you all for tuning in and supporting us any way that you can. Please smash the like button before you get out while you're listening to while you're watching the podcast or watching the YouTube channel or listening to the podcast. Please smash the like button. Also, go to our backup channel. Okay, Big O Show Cuts. We're putting more sound bites there, stuff that you won't get on this one, and plus we're going to add live programming there. I may be doing a show on there on a Saturday, so if you want to watch that show, go to Big O Show Cuts, and also make sure you like that channel too at the same time. Appreciate all of you out there. Thank you, Sean. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a good one.
This is the Big O Show.